The story begins in a gloomy dungeon. Its walls are covered with mold, and a series of barred chambers extend far into the darkness. Terrifying monsters with scarlet eyes roared, bearing fangs and claws. Blood spreads in bright stains across the cracked stones of the dungeon. A palm covered in blood collapses onto the same stones. Seo Juhong drags himself across the floor, cursing at some old man, and wondering how this could have happened to him. The scaly body of the monster leisurely dragged after him with a distinct rustle, while Seo Juhong gloomily remarks that he just can't die this way here. A giant snake opens its monstrous maw, wriggling its tail and preparing to swallow it. Angrily staring at the approaching monster, Seo Juhong wonders when it all went wrong. His first guess was years ago. He recalls that in the year 2025, in a flash of blinding light, the so-called tombs appeared on Earth. Crowds of people gather around an ancient-looking structure. The tombs were accompanied by earthquakes, but relics were found in their depths. Scattered on the white surface are various relics, such as a golden knife or a stiletto. They changed the world. A man easily slices through a car with a sword, while another preaches to a multitude of attentive people. The relics empowered them and changed their lives. 3 men with mining equipment make their way through dark corridors, looking back with hope and fear. They are hunting for relics. Seo Juhong, who has also joined the search, stares in disbelief at the glowing cube hovering above the pedestal, a potent relic. He gleefully grabs the cube, knowing for sure that with such loot, he can start his life with a clean slate. Seo Juhong peeks out from behind the ruins to see the military keeping an eye on the archaeologists, and realizes that he will no longer be allowed to use the relic. He recalls that he was recognized afterward and got a job at TCVM Corporation, and director Kwon Tae-jun promised to help. With a bag full of jewelry, Seo Juhong escapes from the firing soldiers. A new job for the corporation involves plundering tombs. Director Kwon sits in front of a pile of glittering relics with a greedy smile. With them, he had achieved the status of the strongest man in the world within a few years. Other archaeologists see Seo Juhong off with gloomy looks. They think he's trash, but he just keeps working to survive. Seo Juhong recalls how Director Kwon sends him on another assignment with a few colleagues to a perilous place. Director Kwon grins sinisterly, knowing that he sent all the team members to the other world at once. The giant snake lunges at Seo Juhong, and he ducks lower, shrieking and barely avoiding the blow. With a bloody hand, he grabs a random rock from the ground in a vain hope. The stone hits right in the monster's face, but bounces off the dense scales and flies away. Seo Juhong yells at the snake in rage, blaming it for the team's death. Wounded, he continues to provoke the monster, claiming he will tear it from the inside out. The snake opens its mouth, displaying a row of sharp fangs as Seo Juhong continues to curse Kwon Tae-jun. With fury in his eyes, he asks if this suffering will continue even after his death. The moment the monster is already looming over Seo Juhong, preparing to swallow him, an unfamiliar voice orders him to shut up. The snake seems to recognize this voice and immediately raises its head to its source, momentarily forgetting about the one it just almost ate. Seo Juhong turns his head, wondering with suspicion and irritation what this is even about. While the monster is calm, the conversation continues. The stranger wonders how someone can hear him, but Seo Ju-hyun claims it's not the first time. He tries to threaten, ordering the voice to remove the snake and let himself go away. But the man only asks, does Seo Juhong really think he can survive in this wounded body, can last like this, without legs? He remains tensely silent, his eyes downcast. It is clear that he is in doubt himself and has nothing to say. As the monster looms over Seo Juhong once again, the voice says goodbye to him, regretting that even with his rare abilities, he couldn't make it in the new era. Gritting his teeth, Seo Juhong snaps back, saying that the unknown interlocutor doesn't know anything about him and that he wouldn't live like this if he had the chance. Lashing out harder, he reiterates that he doesn't want to live like this. And then, looking directly at the monster, grunts and promises that he'll get revenge on Principal Kwon. With a flash of white light, the snake stops for a moment, and the voice laughs, stating that Seo Juhong can't do that. Squinting over the bright flash and carelessly wiping the blood from his face, he hears the stranger promise to give him a chance. In a ray of white light, a four-eyed bird like a crow opens its wings, while a voice orders Seo Juhong to be the best at something this time. Seo Juhong opens his eyes again, wondering what that just was. And was the bird itself a high-level relic? He drops his gaze to his hands resting in his lap and cries out in amazement. In shock that his recently missing limbs are okay, he jumps up suddenly. As he looks around himself and wonders what happened, he notices that the other wounds have disappeared as well. Puzzled, Seo Juhong turns around, trying to figure out where he is now. Other people, including police officers, look at him with bewilderment and annoyance. Seo Juhong already realizes that it's a police station, but that doesn't help him understand what's going on around him at all. The cop irritably calls him out, reminding him that he was actually asking for personal information and noting that they can't afford to breeze by. Seo Juhong mumbles that he understood everything, while the policeman, staring at the computer screen, asks him about his name. But a few times, the repeated question flies between Seo Juhong's ears as he ponders whether what he saw was a dream or a hallucination. The policeman offers to finish and disperse, while the other remarks that he has not been home at all this year 2025. Seo Juhong's eyes widen with realization when he hears the current year. He looks around nervously, thinking this can't be happening, while the tired policeman covers his face with the palm of his hand. Finding a glance at the electronic clock, he realizes that it is indeed the 1st of January in the year 2025. The yellow-jacketed schoolboy here seems familiar to Seo Juhong, and he recalls that there was such a thing. They had a fight, and it went to the police. Clenching his fists, he slowly begins to accept what has happened to him. Though looking unseeingly in front of him, I still wondered if he had really gone back 15 years. Remembering the voice's admonition to become the best at something, he shudders at the realization. The world outside the windows of the police station is now the most ordinary pre-relic world, with people scurrying along the street and going about their business, whereas divine relics rest untouched in their tombs, floating serenely above pedestals. With a gambling fire in his eyes, Seo Juhong realizes that this is his chance. He can get his hands on these relics. Images of the valuable things he has found flash before his eyes. Using his accumulated knowledge and skills, he can ransack the tombs from the beginning. Stretching her lips in a broad smile, Seo Juhong laughs with anticipation and relief. Looking in front of him, he can't help but wonder, what will happen then? Seo Juhong confesses that after what happened, he didn't believe that anything else could surprise him. But first, a tomb was found, making even a professional like him shiver with fear. The snake-shaped monster slowly swayed. Secondly, the last mission turned out to be a trap. Kwon Tae-run looked at him with a wicked grin. Third, still at the police station, Seo Juhong admits that right before his death, he went back 15 years. With a slightly nervous smile, he notes that even though it's unclear how this is possible, this is his chance to get his hands on the relics before anyone else. An annoyed voice asks if Seo Ju-hyun is listening at all, causing him to turn around. The disgruntled woman accuses him of taking everything lightly, drifting in the clouds, and not paying attention to the investigators. She exclaims that Seo Juhong hit her schoolboy son and actually could have carelessly crippled him. While he frowns, thinking how much it all pisses him off, the woman offers two options to solve the problem: compensation or jail. Seo Juhong's recollection of this situation is clear even now. He remembers the schoolboy coming at him, shouting insults and picking a fight. He believes that everything was planned, and then all he had to do was get down on his knees and beg for forgiveness and a reduction in the amount of compensation. With a complicated expression on his face, he realizes that right now, he has no money for her at all. Various tools are scattered around the table. However, Seo Juhong doesn't have any of them, or even a way to earn money to obtain the relics. Seo Juhong ponders how to get out of the situation, rubbing the back of his head, while behind him, a woman shakes with anger because she's being ignored. In a rage, she raises her own hand at Seo Juhong, yelling that you should listen when you're addressed. Both her high school son and the policeman look on in amazement. But Seo Juhong only squints unkindly, getting up from his seat with a sudden movement. He catches the woman's hand by the wrist, stopping the blow with a kind of absolute calm. It was afterward that the realization hit him, shocking him. His current fighting skills have improved due to the experience gained over the 15 years of work. Concluding that this is to his advantage, he demands in a non-objectionable tone that the woman calm down. He states that the schoolboy was the first to pick a fight, and his mother looks ridiculous, acting just like her son. An offended schoolboy lunges at Seo Juhong with his fists, demanding that he be held accountable for those words. He aims his fist at Seo Juhong's chest, adding that he could have let Seo Juhong go for good, but he changed his mind. Seo Juhong calmly and deftly dodges the blow. What's more, with a quick and strong movement, he intercepts the attacking arm. The schoolboy's eyes widen in panic as the motion of inertia carries him downward. Slamming his forehead on the floor with his arm pinned behind his back, he begins to wail about how hurt he is. Seo Juhong notes with mild surprise that the body is lighter than before, probably due to the absence of injuries from the relic hunting process. Disgruntled police officers approach them, demanding that they stop fighting in the station, and all Seo Juhong can do is raise his hands and squeeze out a guilty oops. He gives a tired look and says he can't pay the compensation anyway, so if they decide to lock him up, so be it. The woman hugs her son and asks if Seo Ju-hyun is crazy because a criminal record is worse than a fine. She threatens him, saying he made a mistake. But Seo Ju-hyun just stares at her blankly, knowing that shortly, this very judgment will be meaningless. As he looks around at the other men behind bars, he knows for sure that the relics will appear and the world will descend into chaos and lawlessness. Leaning against the wall of his cell, Seo Juhong stares pensively into the distance. He's thinking that just being good at fighting isn't enough. He has to find the money to find the relics somewhere. Lowering his eyes, he ponders what he should do in such a situation. An incomprehensible purple glow causes him to stir. An incomprehensible text pops up in front of his eyes, addressing him by name and title. Seo Juhong smacks himself on the head while swearing, deciding that his eyesight is failing him, and it's all a hallucination. However, the text doesn't progress, and it becomes clear that a relic is involved. Or maybe it was that bird that set it up. Looking around nervously, he furiously accuses the raven of following him and asks what exactly he did. But instead of the expected response, translucent panels of the same purple hue unfolded around the astonished Seo Juhong. A window with the basic skills of a Tomb Raider appears in front of him. Seo Ju-hyun notices that it looks like a game window. He tries to punch the window, accusing the Raven of treating human life as some kind of toy, but his fist goes right through. A flash of purple catches his attention, and grumpily wondering what the big deal is now, Seo Ju-hong turns his head to another window. He sees the assignment in the window, and while he's studying it, a policeman approaches the camera, demanding that Seo Ju-hyun keep his voice down. He agrees. Immediately, he realizes that he is the only one who can see the purple panels, despite their glow and bright color. On the floor near the grate, Seo Ju-hong can make out an insect. Just as the skill description claimed, his gaze picks up any details within a short distance. He recalls that the same ability was bestowed upon him by an archaeological relic, which allowed him to extract the most valuable item from a pile of others. It makes him wonder if all his old skills are within that skill window, and whether he will be able to unlock new ones. Concluding that if all his skills are out the window, there's no point in him going after an archaeological relic, which is quite convenient. However, it also makes one wary. We don't know what the Raven was up to, and relics don't help people for nothing. Suddenly, Seo Ju-hong is called by name by a cheerful-looking man standing in the hallway. He had come to fetch him. They continue their conversation on the porch of the police station, where the man states with conviction that the schoolboy is a hardened criminal himself. He adds that he'll take care of everything himself, and Seo Ju-hyun isn't the only such victim. Seo Ju-hyun thanks him with a smile. Detective Kim Jung suggests that Seo Ju-hyun must be scared of jail, recalling how Kim Jung took him in when he was orphaned. Looking at Kim Jung, Seo Ju-hyun thinks about how he didn't notice how young he looks now. He calls out to his companion, saying he wants to ask him something. Kim Jung turns around. Seo Ju-hong wonders if there have been any reports of the paranormal. Still, all he gets in response is a worried question about whether he's drunk. After a bit of thought, Kim Jong replies with a joke, and Seo Ju-hyun is relieved to realize that the relics haven't been heard from yet. Kim Jong pats him on the shoulder and tells him to go home and rest. Standing amongst the people, Kim Jong waves goodbye to Seo Ju-hyun while he thinks about the fact that while the tombs haven't appeared, nothing has changed in the world. With a smile as he says goodbye to the detective, he realizes it's time to take action. With his skills, the chance of success is high. Turning down a narrow alley, Seo Ju-hong notices that the problem is the lack of money. The best relics were originally in other countries. He's just thinking about how to pay for the flight when someone calls out to him. It's a group of 4 guys, with the main one wondering why Seo Ju-hyun, being the youngest, doesn't work harder than the others. The same one rounds his eyes in amazement, before realizing that he has just found a way to make money. With a demonic grin, he looks at those approaching, clearly not planning anything good. Park Gyeongtae, the chief among them, mockingly remarks that Seo Ju-hong must have no respect for them if he's in no hurry to bow. Toth recalls that Park Kenthae used to be a street hustler, but now works as an art dealer, having opened a gallery with his sister. Seo Ju-hong had moonlighted for them while he was still in school, hauling boxes, but they wouldn't let him go afterward, and he had to hump like that until he was 25. Seo Ju-hong drags another box, ducking from a slap. He works as hard as everyone else, but he is not respected at all. While one of Park Kenthae's entourage shouts threateningly at Seo Ju-hong, the latter thinks he's been treated like a dog, and afterward, without thinking long, without further ado, punches this guy in the face. The blow proves hard enough to make the opponent's head turn and blood spurt. The guy himself simply flies off to the rest of the gang and flops on his back, while Seo Ju-hyun, with a calm expression, tells the gallery director that he no longer works for her. Park Kyung-hee rather rudely calls the decision to leave stupid. Still, Seo Ju-hyun only replies that before he leaves, there's something else he needs to do. That something turns out to be a threatening demand to give him his salary and severance pay now. Apparently, the gang can't believe what they're hearing, and its members just look perplexed. And then, they just start laughing. Park Gyeongtae suggests that Seo Ju-hyun will have a hard life. In the next instant, Park Kenthae pounces on Seo Ju-hong with his fists. He has not yet had time to strike when he sees a blur of rapid movement in his direction due to his speed. With all his strength, Seo Ju-hong punches him back right in the face. Suppressedly cursing with a bloody face, Park Kenthae can only stare at the approaching palm. Seo Ju-hong, without hesitating, roughly grabs him by the hair and slams his head against his knee. It was enough to make the blood spurt more violently, and his subordinates cackled worriedly. With concerned faces, they discuss how Seo Ju-hong was able to become so fast and where he learned how to fight. However, they decide to leave these matters for later and instead attack Seo Ju-hong, who is quietly waiting for them. But one of them immediately gets a painful and swift elbow to the face. The other one gets kicked in the head with his foot, knocking a painful sound out of him. They fall to the ground, while the only one left on his feet mutters that he can't believe what he's seen. Seo Ju-hyun just grins and mockingly states that he feels sorry for the beaten ones, as they will have a hard time in the new world. As he contemplates his fist, he rejoices in his fighting abilities, but he also realizes that it's time to call it a day. In his current body, he can't take a punch very well. Suddenly, a battered Park Kenthae pulls out a strange dagger from under his jacket, accusing Seo Ju-hong of ingratitude and promising to stab him. One of the gang members calls out to him, nervously asking him to be careful with the weapon since it already has a buyer. Still, Park Kenthae only waves him off indifferently. Seo Juhong looks around warily. Something seems out of the ordinary to him. A clear haze of power gathers around the blade of the dagger. This weapon is a relic, but then where did Park Kenthae get it from? But immediately, he realizes that this is no surprise. Some relics deliberately attract people, while others blend in with the crowd, hiding among them. Seo Juhong chuckles, knowing that this relic won't be in the wrong hands for long. With a fierce shout, Park Kenthae lunges at him with his dagger, hoping to take his life with one blow. But Seo Juhong smoothly dodges, causing the blade to slip past his right side. Afterward, he easily grasps the astonished Park Kenthae's hand, clasping it. He forces the point of the dagger under the very chin of Park Kenthae himself as he pleads for it to stop. The other gang members rush forward, cursing at Seo Juhong and worrying about his opponent. And the man only snatches the dagger from Park Kenthae's hands, mockingly promising to take good care of him. Staring at the blade bathed in waves of power, he says they all need to watch and learn how to properly use something like this. His eyes flash the same unnatural-colored sparks in an instant. Now, he sees the attacking gang members like some sort of anatomy manual, distinguishing their organs and bones. They shout, but Seo Juhong doesn't listen. The gang members pounce on the seemingly calm Seo Juhong, striking him from both sides simultaneously. But as they look around, they find no one in front of them, and almost hesitantly assume they are gone. But then, a hail of short punches lands on them, making them cringe as Seo Juhong continues his lightning-fast movement. While the gang members curse him, he examines the dagger, noting that it has more than one power and is quite handy. Intercepting his weapon more comfortably, he coldly remarks that he's slightly miffed at his attackers so far. Still, if they don't start getting the money, things are sure to get worse. Menacingly, he reminds them of the conditions they have agreed to, money in exchange for their lives untouched. Battered and bloodied, Park Kenthae unhesitatingly squeezes out an agreement. Night, broken only by the warm light of the windows, descends on the city. Park Kenthae's sister, Park Yongju, angrily reprimands him over the phone after hearing about the scuffle. Blinking at the deafening scream even through the phone's speakers, Park Kenthae continues to make excuses that he doesn't know how it happened. He explains that just yesterday, Seo Juhong didn't know or know how to do anything, and today, even his eyes seemed particularly intimidating. Park Yongju sighs tiredly and clarifies the amount of money Seo Juhong took with him. Park Kenthae replies that it's all their money in general, as well as the goods for the deal, to which Park Yongju breaks out into a scolding. He explains that when Seo Juhong counted the money, the amount he received seemed very small to him. And with a grudging glance at Park Kenthae himself, he declares that he'll look again now, and if he finds something, they won't like it. Amid screams of terror and anxious exclamations from the rest of the gang, the search continues. Seo Juhong finds the Buddha statue and, holding it in the palm of his hand, figures it must be worth a lot, while Park Yongtae begs him not to take it. Thus convinced that the statuette does have value, Seo Juhong declares with a smile that he will confiscate it. He turns around and walks away while the kneeling gang members insult him and demand he return. The threats turn to pleas to return the statue, but Seo Juhong doesn't even turn around, calmly continuing on his way. To this, Park Yongju responds with a grim expression, issuing a short demand to return it. With a confused expression on her face, Park Kenthae foolishly asks her to repeat herself. To which Park Yongju no longer calls them all fools, so briefly and politely, and demands the statue back immediately. Behind the counter, the appraiser tells Seo Juhong that this Buddha is not worth 50,000 won, advising him to just put it somewhere at home. Waving his palm, he assures that he realized at first sight that no one would buy such a thing, while Seo Juhyun just looks confused. Seo Juhyun mentally remarks that it's weird how Park Kenthae tried to return this thing since it turns out to be worthless. He rambles down the shopping alley, yawning and examining the signs lazily. Lowering his gaze to the statue, he remarks that he thought it was worth a lot, and attributes his mistake to his lack of knowledge about archaeological relics. Suddenly, a strange, dark energy begins to emanate from the Buddha, swirling with puffs of smoke. A game-like screen appears in front of Seo Juhong, informing him that there is some suspicious entity in that statue. Wondering if there's really something hidden inside, he tries to inspect the thing and flick the message box away at the same time. Shaking it to see what's inside, Seo Juhong finally realizes the reason why Park Yongtae was so worried. Taking out a dagger, Seo Juhong is about to open up the Buddha with a smile and see what's in there. With a few quick and spectacular blows, he cleaves the statue, scaring the occasional worker behind his back. Along with the shards, a seemingly ordinary water bottle falls and rolls to the floor. But Seo Juhong, picking it up, immediately recognizes the contents. It is a liquid drug that was used by dropping a little of it on tobacco. Realizing how expensive it is, he looks around nervously, trying to see if anyone has seen it, but overlooks the employee behind him. Walking down the street and looking at the bottle, Seo Juhong wonders, what if there is such a surprise hidden in each of the gallery's hundreds of exhibits? And so he dials Detective Kim Jung's number, with a smile to clarify a few things with him. Returning home at sunset, he hears that the reward for information on drug smuggling is 100 million won. Meanwhile, Park Kyungju nervously tries to justify herself to someone she calls the principal and covers up the fact that she lost the Buddha. Her interlocutor shouts angrily at her, and Park Kyungju wrinkles her nose tiredly. As the gallery employee glances nervously at her, she apologizes again and promises to get in touch later. And then, as soon as the call is cut off, he immediately swears at the mysterious interlocutor, wishing him all the worst. When she hears the door open, she turns around, thinking it's Park Kenthe and his gang. It does turn out to be him, but only in handcuffs, accompanied by detectives, causing Park Kenju to gape in astonishment. A rather pathetic-looking Park Kenthe voices the obvious. They are in huge trouble. But Park Kyungju doesn't understand anything and asks what it all means. The detective, showing his ID, calmly replies that there is a statement about drug trafficking here, to which Park Kyungju mumbles incoherently. But Detective Kim Jeonu is only amused at how this excuse is like any other and shows the statue bottle as evidence. He assumes that other such bottles are kept in the warehouse, and judging from Park Kyungju's nervous reaction, his guess is accurate. And, let it worry her that law enforcement even knows about the warehouse, she reassures herself that each one is locked with an access code. So she feigns innocence and tells Kim Young to his face that she knows nothing about it and that she needs more evidence to convict her. Angrily, she compliments that even the police don't have the right to interfere in someone's business like that. To this, he simply pulls out a walkie-talkie, a voice from which confirms that they have already checked 600 exhibits and drugs have been found in everyone. While her wrists are handcuffed, Park Kyungju asks how they were even able to access the warehouses, which are locked with password locks. Kim Jung says that the password was indeed there, except they have their own methods. Seo Ju-hyun is standing surrounded by police officers. He is the face that helped the police in their search. A man calls out to him, telling him that the next room is closed, but Seo Ju-hong himself is not at all surprised. As he enters the code into the lock, the policeman asks how he was able to open them all like that, to which Seo Ju-hyun remarks with a smile that there's nothing wrong with that, and he just has a good memory. Recalling how he used to work here as well, he notes that it was because of his memory advantage that he was not let go from here. Seo Ju-hong looks through the password sheet, memorizing it. This precautionary measure doesn't seem suspicious to him, even though it's annoying because of the inconvenience. Walking behind the police officers with a smile, he thinks he had no idea he would ever be so valuable. With a confident look, Seo Ju-hong thinks that now everything is definitely going according to plan. Watching the search with contentment, he is already planning how he will spend the bounty to prepare for the relic hunt. The police officers indignantly discuss the gallery owner's self-assurance, while Seo Ju-hyun just continues to smile contentedly. One of the cops praises him for being responsible, while he sweetly replies that he's only too happy to help. But as soon as he says he has a favor to ask, the cops are alarmed. While the resisting Park Kyungju is being led away, Kim Jung's phone starts ringing. It's Seo Ju-hyun, of course. They discuss something briefly, some requests that the detective doesn't quite understand, but agrees to fulfill. He calls out to the departing Park Kyungju, who casts a furious look at him, and with a smile, he hands the phone to her, explaining that his assistant wants to give her something. Seo Ju-hong's voice is heard from the phone, complaining that Park Kyungju should have treated his employees better. And as he continues talking, Park Kyungju realizes who helped the police and blames him for it. With a smile, he adds that it would be worth changing passwords more often, at least every 6 months, and ends the conversation with a simple wish to have a good time behind bars. As Park Kyungju is led onward, she, sputtering with saliva, promises to take Seo Ju-hong's life and calls him ungrateful. By the time it's all over, it's a deep night outside. Seo Ju-hong walks down the dark street, thinking that this is really busy, distracted by the sound of notifications on his phone, causing him to pull it out and see what's up. It's a message from Kim Jung, who praises Seo Ju-hyun, says he'll get the money soon, and warns him not to spend it all at once. Seo Ju-hong notices with a smile how worried he is, but thinks that once he gets to work on the tomb looting, he won't have to worry anymore. Remembering Kwon Tae-jun's face, Seo Ju-hong promises that he'll definitely find them faster than him. Suddenly, an unusual sight stops him in his tracks. Frozen at the edge of the road, he looks at the spot where his house should be but doesn't recognize it. Instead, something huge rises from the ground in rivers of dust and dirt. The entire neighborhood has been replaced by a monumental tomb, and the people watching are panicking, cursing, and crying. Some are trying to get answers from the military, while others are trying to calm a crying baby. Seo Ju-hong walks around the gathered crowd, looking around tensely for something. Throwing a grim look, he thinks he can understand all these people, but they're going to have to get used to it. It's only going to happen more and more often. Seo Ju-hong is in the warehouse, pressing the phone to his ear. This is how he was informed of the incident last time. But as he returns, he sees all the same identical houses intact. He exhales, glad that it's all nothing more than a delusion, but what it really means is that someone managed to clean out the tomb that used to be there in just a few hours. Looking around at the gathered people, Seo Ju-hong assumes that this certain someone is among them now, but decides that he can't reach the relic this time. A shout startles him, and he turns around. Someone is desperately pleading with him not to open fire. One man in the crowd is pointed at by a soldier's gun. Seo Ju-hyun realizes that his neighbor Kim is now in the crosshairs. The soldier, however, irritably orders everyone to stay where they are, threatening reprisals otherwise. Unable to endure such a thing, Seo Juhong kicks him in the chin without any warning, sending him flying. The people talk shockedly while Seo Juhong rudely asks if the soldier is in his right mind, since he drew his weapon. And afterward, he calmly greets Kim, saying it's been a long time since they've seen each other, and notices that he hasn't changed at all. The soldier slowly rises, and Seo Juhong wonders carelessly if he has come to his senses now. And he apologizes with a frightened look on his face. He admits that he doesn't understand what suddenly came over him. But Seo Juhong only waves it off and instead asks to be told why the army was here so quickly. At the same time, he asks if anyone tried to get into the tomb, and the soldier mumbles something about not being allowed to tell. But Seo Juhong didn't really need his answer. He already realized that, of course, they were trying, which means we have to get ahead of them. He demands, in an obscene manner, that the soldier answer what people with guns are doing near his house. To be even more convincing, he threatens to tell about this soldier's bad behavior towards a civilian if he doesn't talk. While the soldier nervously drenches himself in sweat, Seo Juhong repeats his only demand. All he wants is to know the purpose of their being here. To which the soldier replies simply, their goal is to destroy the tomb by removing a sure thing from inside. He also assures that there is nothing to worry about. While he hastily assures them that they're being helped by scientists, Seo Juhong gloomily ponders the fact that they really have no idea what they're messing with. Beginning to understand something about the government's plan, he thanks the soldier in a friendly manner, and, adding falsely that he believes in the army, wishes him good luck and walks away, waving his hand. When neighbor Kim asks Seo Ju-hyun if he's learned anything, he admits that he hasn't learned much, and there's nothing left to do but wait. Kim frustratedly tries to clarify something else, but Seo Ju-hyun is already rushing onward. Kim calls out loudly to him, trying to find out something, but gets only silence in response. All he can do is stand in the crowd of other worried people and think that Seo Ju-hyun is somehow not like this today. Meanwhile, people in dark clothing gather at the approach to the tomb. Linda Walker observes the soldiers conversing very cheerfully. She is a CIA agent, and on the phone, she demands that her interlocutor double-check the information because, apparently, the Korean government already knows about the tombs. On the phone, she is assured that no one knows anything, to which Linda remarks, looking back at the soldiers, that it is unclear then why so many military men are here. The interlocutor states that everything happens according to their instructions, and that mentioning tombs in a conversation, just for the hell of it, is not worth it. This information is classified. As Linda returns to her agents, the interlocutor demands a situation report from her. She says the explosives are in place, and they will be inside soon. With a confident smile, she listens as a voice reminds her to follow protocol, also retrieves every relic she finds and delivers it. As the conversation ends, Linda is distracted by a man in an overcoat, Abe Kiyoshi. She clearly resents his presence, to which he, being a Japanese archaeologist, responds with a smile, saying that everyone wants the power of the new world. He marvels at how the Americans were quicker on the spot and asks, almost mockingly politely, if their trip went well. And then, as if offhandedly, he compares the CIA to the ubiquitous rats, which obviously angers Linda. She proudly notes that they mine relics for scientific purposes and generally seek global cooperation, to which Abe irritably calls bullshit, claiming that the US doesn't let others into the relics. Linda simply asks if there is any evidence of this, but Abe simply says he won't waste his time on that and instead will just take the relic. Linda mockingly wishes him luck. Hiding around the corner, Seo Juhong overhears their conversation, finding it curious. He immediately determines that the people he sees are the leading representatives of the CIA and Japan, respectively. Looking at the tomb, towering in the middle of the metropolis, he recalls that the public was initially kept in the dark about these structures. People are gathering around the mangled bas-relief of Rushmore. They are representatives of the most advanced countries, trying to divide the spoils of the tomb. Men in uniform pack the found jewels into a box. They are members of a specially formed team to conduct expeditions around the world. Frowning, Seo Juhong promises that they won't get anything this time and that the relic will only go to him. He decides to seize the moment of the quarrel between the representatives of other countries and only hopes that the tomb will not be blown up with him. With a cocky smile, he assures himself that they don't stand the slightest chance. He confidently dismounts with the thought that it's time for action, but quickly stops in front of the mysterious scarlet lettering on the ground. With a satisfied grin, Seo Juhong looked down at their soft glow. He had found the glyphs. As he approaches the pattern of symbols, he notices that he likes relics very much because they behave as if they were alive. And they need attention, just like the living. He realizes he's never thought about it before. Still, perhaps the relics consider themselves the main stars of their own production. With the others, he approaches the red-written slab, noticing that these glyphs conceal all the necessary information about the tomb. Dropping to one knee, Seo Juhong carelessly remarks that most people would certainly not be able to decipher them, but he is not one of them. In a slight glow of supernatural power, he believes he has finally found the entrance. Immediately, a familiar-looking purple game window unfolds in front of him, awakening his new language-related skill. Waving away the notifications, he notices that the skill is actually good, except that he can't see anything outside the windows. A random passerby turns around to see Seo Juhong making incomprehensible movements as he ponders the fact that he has 2 more skills left to unlock. The action moves to the riverbank, where one of the columns holding the beam is glowing a mysterious red. At the base, it is all painted red and features prominent yellow symbols. Seo Juhong stops in front of the column, thinking he's found the right place for him. Snatching up the relic dagger, he exclaims joyfully that it's finally time for a Tomb Raider. And, without hesitation, he unleashes a powerful blow directly at the symbols on the column. At the exact moment, a flurry of energy is released around the area, illuminating it with a bright flash. The impact splits the glowing yellow prominent symbol and seems to lubricate it. Just then, a small notification window popped up on the side, catching Seo Juhong's attention and informing him that an unknown creature was approaching. Right in front of his eyes, the pillar transforms into a pillar of pure energy, causing him to recoil and cover his eyes. Linda and Abe notice the bright flash and express surprise rather rudely. Linda is reported to Linda by a subordinate that someone has unsealed the tomb, while Abe wonders where the light is coming from. He immediately takes off, leaving the CIA agents behind and ignoring their shouts. But all he does is grab the nearest soldier and clearly instruct him not to abandon his position and to evacuate people from the immediate area. Linda grudgingly remarks that support would come in handy right now, to which Abe, still running, remarks that the military will only get in the way now. They finally reach the source of light on the riverbank, exclaiming that they have found the gate. Linda takes a seat at the edge while Abe tries to look inside, but quickly realizes that the brightness of the beam makes it impossible to make out anything. Linda carelessly tosses a small stone into the stream of light, watching. It is impossible to see his flight farther, and so they freeze at the edge, listening. Finally, hearing a gurgling sound, Linda and Abe decide that there's a body of water under the gate, and a pretty deep one at that. And, deciding that the depths were nothing to be afraid of, Abe, under Linda's anxious shouts, jumped down without a second thought. Seo Juhong, who is wandering through the flooded cave, raises his head when he hears a sound. He quickly realizes what that means, and concludes tiredly that there must be a tail dragging behind him. Lighting the symbols shimmering in the light with his lighter, he says, "It's time to play a little." The characters in this long string of characters walk off into the depths of the cave, while Seo Juhong grins and announces that this is the first test. Meanwhile, Abe crawls ashore, coughing up water and wrinkling his nose at the foul odor. Coming down the rope, Linda says she actually wanted to warn him. Abe curses. Suddenly, a deafening sound catches their attention, causing them to turn around. Linda, wielding a flashlight, tries to figure out where it's coming from, to which Abe simply notes that it's getting closer. The source of the sound turns out to be a considerable stream of water, splashing out of the hallway with a roar. Abe and Linda try to flee, wondering in passing how come there is so much water here. But the wave overtakes them and shelters them, crashing down on the 2 fragile bodies with all its might. They are, of course, trying to fight, reaching for the surface, struggling with the water, and trying to cough up and breathe normally. Seo Juhong, meanwhile, makes his way further into the cave with a serious look. When a soft glow touches his face, his eyes flash with determination. He had finally found what he was looking for. This cave leads him to a small, quiet lake, filled with glowing water. Seo Juhong lowered his gaze to the dagger, pondering that he was right to bring it with him. With a loud splash, he drops the weapon into the lake bed, raising a pile of spray. After receiving the offering, the water in the lake begins to bubble, swirling with a whirlpool. Finally, from the very depths, a giant white snake rises up, staring intently at the little man in front of him. But instead of attacking, it opens its mouth and voices a riddle. The snake says that the blade thrown into the water has not disappeared. Opening her mouth wider, she displays 2 similar daggers on her tongue. She offers to choose which one belonged to Seo Juhong, silver or gold. But the man chuckles. He knows the fairy tale from which this riddle comes, and he knows the correct answer. Examining the giant serpent, Seo Juhong notes that the story is as old as the world and has been passed down to their time in the form of a fable about a woodcutter and Mercury. With another glance at the daggers in the monster's mouth, he assumes everyone has heard her, and everyone knows what to do. Already knowing that the relic will belong to him, he replies with a bold smile that his weapon is neither. The snake slams its mouth shut and echoes Seo Juhong's answer questioningly. And when she opens her mouth again, the very blade that was thrown into the water is already on her tongue. Seo Juhong hesitates for a moment. He recalls that the hero of the fable should recognize his weapons at this point and receive all 3 as a reward for his honesty. He squints, however, and realizes that this time it's not so simple. So Seo Juhong honestly replies that this dagger looks like his, but he's not quite sure, and so he asks for a closer look. Snake agrees. Seo Juhong reaches his hand inside the snake's mouth as if he isn't afraid in the slightest. His fingers cover the hilt of the weapon, closing tightly on it. However, as he grabbed the weapon, he let it with a jerk, cutting through the scales on the snake's neck. Seo Juhong jumps aside just in time as the snake reaches for him, questioning why he's doing this since he's about to get his reward. To which he replies that it's just the first rule of Tomb Raiders. Peering at a snake crawling ashore, he explains, "You can never trust relics because they are pure evil." Seo Juhong asks, who can guarantee that his reward isn't a curse? Snake, sticking out his tongue, asks in surprise how he knows so much. Seo Juhong recalls a newspaper that talks about a serial killer. This is the man who took the relic from this tomb 15 years ago. Gripping his dagger tighter, Seo Juhong says that he knows more than he seems to, and he's sorry that the test of honesty turned into this. Without further ado, he pushes himself off the ground to soar into the air, and lands on the back of the snake's head, driving the weapon deep into the light-colored scales. Clenching his teeth, Seo Juhong suggests that the snake reap what it has sown. With sparks of fire in his eyes, the monster angrily asks if Seo Juhong thinks that the snake will now become his servant. Mentally drawing a man approaching the relic pedestal, Seo Juhong observes that it's not enough to just pass the test and get the rare item. Others bow before the drawn man and his sword, recognizing its power. For this purpose, it is necessary to establish a connection with the relic, kinship. Wounded and exhausted people gathered in the alley. They were poisoned by the hatred of the relics, manifesting itself in the form of curses and disease. Seo Juhong looks at Director Kwan doubtfully. He has an artifact that gets rid of curses, and that's a reason not to leave him. Plunging the dagger deeper into the snake's skin until the monster begs for mercy, Seo Juhong notes that it's not always possible to befriend the relic. With a shadow on his face, he adds that sometimes it is necessary to subdue them, and wonders if the snake is really willing to surrender so quickly. The serpent hisses and thrashes, desperately begging for an end to its suffering. With an evil grin, Seo Juhong replies with a refusal, saying it's too little. He thrusts the dagger in even deeper, pressing down with all his might and promising to crush the will of the relic. Recalling the soldier at the entrance to the tomb, Seo Juhong explains that relics are more challenging to control than ordinary things, as they are ready to absorb the will of the possessor. A man with open hands salutes a shining sword, representing friendship, one version of the relationship with relics. The woman grimly clutches the weapon tightly, representing dominance. The second option is a rigid submission to the artifact. A group of people hold their tools quietly, using them. It's compatibility, the strongest bonds from shared ideas and interests. A girl shows others a relic she has found. Like most, she tries to befriend it so she can use it. In a gloomy hospital room, a visitor sits by the bedside. These are all the consequences of using relics that don't share the host's values. Seo Juhong clings to the snake's back, shouting that in this life, he won't waste time on unreliable friendships and will simply force the relics into submission. With a fierce look, he threatens the snake that if it disobeys, he will simply destroy it because a replacement will not be so difficult to find. The snake cries out desperately in pain and asks how this is so, since people should desire and honor those like her. The rays of bright light make Seo Juhong stand up and squeeze his eyes shut. And then, with a splash of water, the monster dissolves into that light. A beautiful golden axe remains in Seo Juhong's hands. He did it. Reacting to this, a box immediately pops up on the side, notifying you that you've unlocked a new skill that allows you to collect information about tombs. Seo Juhong immediately turns to him, noting that it's great that he got something new, but he still has one free slot. Just then, another window flashes nearby, involuntarily drawing attention to itself. It announces Seo Juhong's new rank and talents. Unhappy that the conviction has gotten lower, Seo Juhong is quickly humbled, however, as he decides that he doesn't need to be friends with the relics anyway. He is distracted by the voices of other archaeologists already getting closer to the center of the tomb. While Linda and Abe, muttering that everything is just as the prophecy says, run out to the lake, Seo Juhong hides in the shadows behind a rock. Abe snatches a red bottle from his pocket as Linda anxiously asks him what he's going to do. As she demands an explanation of what's going on, the bottle falls into the water. Peeking out of hiding with a smug smile, Seo Juhong notices that they are late after all. As he continues to follow the conversation of the foreign agents, he thinks he should remain vigilant as he may meet these two again. Pulling out his weapon, Seo Juhong suddenly realizes that he can end their rivalry right here. But he is distracted from that thought by another small pop-up window. This time, it mentions the dagger, noting that it's fragile and has already lost about half its strength. Seo Juhong begins to wonder how much longer he will be able to use this weapon. Shifting his gaze back to the center of the cave, he interprets it as a message from that raven, telling him not to rush into battle for nothing. Meanwhile, on the shore of the lakeside, Abe is nearly shaking with anger, shouting that the prophecy was only to throw another relic into the water. Linda is outraged that the seer's relic was taken to the Japanese after all, but Abe snaps back that that's not the point right now. Gesturing vigorously, he emotionally explains that someone was here before them, and that someone took the relic. Linda now recalls seeing footprints near the glyphs, and assumes there is nothing more for them to catch. A sharp sound causes them both to almost jump up alertly. In his hiding place, Seo Juhong tosses an ordinary stone in the palm of his hand, looking mockingly. Intercepting the relic, he held it tighter, thinking it was time to get out, because the tomb would soon collapse. Extending a radiantly lighted axe before him, he orders the relic to seal his own tomb. The whole cave begins to shake in preparation for the sealing, and Abe yells that things are bad. While he screams and panics, trying to find a way out, Seo Ju-hong walks away calmly. It is later, somewhere in an empty and dark alleyway, that he lifts the manhole cover, climbing out. Shaking off his jacket, he notices that Abe and Linda should have taken care of the escape routes, and he should hurry up and blend into the crowd. He returns and sees the most ordinary houses, and the people gathered around them. They stand for a while, but later disperse. Out of the entire crowd, Seo Ju-hong calls out to his neighbor Kim, causing him to turn around. Kim rushes over in amazement to tell him that the embankment has somehow just disappeared. Seo Ju-hyun replies that's great, and he's going to go home and have dinner. Kim asks anxiously what will happen if something happens. Meanwhile, Abe is on the phone yelling at someone, accusing them of not being warned about what was coming. He demands to report every detail and accuses the interlocutor of being of no use to him. Toth justifies that the prophecy only appeared a few hours ago, and it is difficult to decipher. Clenching his fingers, Abe clarifies whether he understood correctly that they couldn't reread him and receives confirmation. Abe gets even angrier and asks what they're doing there. His interlocutor replies that the kid couldn't do anything, being out of tune. The interlocutor promises that he won't let it happen again, promising to try harder. Here, he suddenly notes that this thief is an exceptionally unusual individual. It is not certain, but the prophecy states that he will consume the world. Seo Ju-hong sits at home at his computer, drinking and looking at something on the screen. He studies news reports in different languages, noting that his linguistic skill is wonderfully helpful. He carefully reads every word, but still can't find any information about the tombs. The general public will learn about them later. Dropping his hands to the keyboard, he tries to find information on Director Kwon, but there are no leads on the internet about him or his organization. His neighbor Kim peeks over his shoulder, wondering if Seo Ju-hong really understands what he's written, or if he's just pretending. Seo Ju-hyun turns around and simply offers to read it, to which he gets the response that he doesn't need to. It's fine. Seo Ju-hong takes the opportunity to ask Kim if he has heard of an organization called TCWM, but Kim doesn't know anything. Kim also asks why Seo Ju-hong wants information about their director and what his interest in him is. However, he quickly assumes this information himself, related to Seo Ju-hong's other investigations. He replies that he is unlikely to be able to help. Turning away from the monitor, Seo Ju-hong admits that he quit, which only raises a new wave of questions. Finding something with his gaze, he realizes in a moment of insight how to find more information about the person he needs. And under Kim's endless anxious questions, he plunges into the investigation. The story continues in a closed art gallery, where the gang members are searching for something in the room, unsure of what to do next. Left without a boss, they are unsure of how to make a living now. One of them hastily lights a cigarette and blames Seo Ju-hong for all of Seo Ju-hong's problems, promising to deal with him as soon as he sees him. Others enthusiastically support it and suggest that we should actually go out and find it and punish it. The one who originally brought up revenge smugly claims that he's actually always right, and they need to get even for Park Kenthe. Suddenly, he hears a call and casts a disgruntled glance at the phone screen. It turns out to be Seo Ju-hong, which obviously surprises the gang members. One of them doesn't understand why the other is calling, and the other is spurred to answer sooner. Eventually, the leader of the gang's remnants picks up the phone and makes it clear he's listening, to which Seo Ju-hong irritably asks if his interlocutor couldn't hurry up. He grumbles irritably at this disrespect. The rest of the gang supports him, and the very next second, he starts yelling at Seo Ju-hong, threatening to find him, to which the latter responds briefly and calmly, demanding that he shut up. With a smile on his lips, Seo Ju-hyun says that he actually has one suggestion for them. He knows that things are not going well for them, to which the gang members accuse him of being the reason they are not doing well. To which Seo Ju-hyun calmly says that things can still be fixed. He wants to hire them so he can have his own people on Midas. Illuminated by the neon lights of the big city, Midas is the largest underground auction of rare goods. Many exquisite items are spread out on the table. These are all high-quality relics that Director Kwon purchased at this auction. Seo Ju-hong says the gang's task will be to deal with one commodity and one person in the shortest time possible. He instructs, remembering Kwon's face, that the search will be for Jack Kamen or Jakey, which is, of course, an alias. Seo Ju-hyun adds that he wants any information he can get, but he'll punish those who cheat. The frightened gang members look at the phone. However, just moments later, they start yelling that getting to Las Vegas isn't easy, to which they get the response that it's just their problem. Seo Ju-hyun assures them that they can refuse the job, but he's sure they won't once they find out the amount of the fee. The gang members only start swearing louder, saying that his paltry pennies won't fool them and that they should come to him and take everything away. But they quickly get nervous when Seo Ju-hyun says that since they won't cooperate, they'll have to be persuaded differently. His next threat makes them scared for real. He promises that he will go to them and beat them until they ask to work themselves. Seo Ju-hyun promises with a smile that they'll see each other soon and hangs up. And then he throws his backpack behind his back and leaves the house, already planning something. Standing on the doorstep, he decides, while the gang searches for information for him, he'll tackle another tomb. They're on TV talking about a terrible accident right in the center of town. This program is monitored by the store employee that Seo Joo-hyun investigated. He suspects that a relic may be involved. He freezes in place, contemplating checking it out after all. He is pulled out of his musings by a familiar voice, rudely demanding him to shift and stay out of the way. It turns out to be Abe, continuing to swear at Seo Joo-hyun, wondering where the Japanese archaeologist came from here. With an indifferent face, listening to the scolding, he realizes that this is so-so and very interesting. After all, Abe isn't likely to stroll through the city just for fun, but since he's here, there's bound to be a tomb somewhere soon. Seo Joo-hyun recalls that the Japanese unit is working with a visionary, which means they know exactly what will happen, where, and how. He finally snaps at Abe, saying that he understood all the bad words in his direction perfectly well, to which Abe awkwardly tries to justify that he's had a rough day. Seo Joo-hyun states with a smile that he doesn't actually understand anything, but the look on Abe's face is funny. And Abe immediately explodes with a new pile of curses at the damned jokers. Seo Joo-hyun mockingly remarks that Abe started it first. Still, the latter shifts the blame to Seo Joo-hyun himself, or rather, to the fact that he was standing there and obstructing the passage. While Seo Joo-hyun is paying at the cash register, Abe self-consciously continues to swear. Seo Joo-hyun notices the currents of power around Abe and realizes that he's carrying around a rather powerful relic. Yet, he doesn't even try to hide it. As he leaves the store and leaves a fight-happy Abe behind, he thinks about stealing such a valuable item. Stopping and letting himself be taken by the shoulder, Seo Joo-hyun laughingly replies that he wouldn't mind going out and talking like that, but immediately turns around and douses Abe with the drink from the can, as if by accident. Abe almost growls that Seo Joo-hyun is asking for a fight, and he mockingly asks if everything's okay, and even tries to shake off the ruined clothes, while Abe keeps swearing and demanding that Seo Joo-hyun pay for the laundry. In reality, Seo Joo-hyun is taking advantage of this commotion to exploit others. What he fumbles for seems to be a small bracelet like that, but he realizes it would be too obvious to steal it now. Instead, he tells Abe that he has no money, but Abe has an excuse to throw away the clothes and buy something newer. In addition, Seo Joo-hyun bends down and picks up an item that Abe seems to have dropped, and he hands Abe his archaeology credentials, saying the documents are worth keeping safe. Abe snatches them up immediately, not wanting them to stay in the wrong hands for a second longer. He nervously thinks that no one should see his archaeologist credentials and that he should have calmed down himself. Suddenly, there is a deafening rumble, causing both Abe and Seo Joo-hyun to flinch. People around are panicking, assuming an earthquake, and trying to figure out where the sound is coming from. In a panic, they try to flee from the unknown threat, stumble, and fall. Seo Joo-hyun only makes all of this make him chuckle merrily, because all of these special effects foreshadow the arrival of a new tomb. He rushes to run away while Abe only hums, saying that the seer was right again, and he needs to take advantage of the chaos that has developed. He receives a call. He picks up the phone and briefly reports that everything is going as planned, but the caller says that's not all he called for. A voice from the phone reports that according to their information, the person who took the relic from the previous tomb will also be here, causing Abe to exclaim unhappily. Awkwardly, he also adds another obscure prediction specifically for Abe. It's a recommendation to avoid alcoholic beverages. Remembering Seo Joo-hyun dousing him with beer, Abe begins to suspect something. He turns around, trying to find the one with his eyes, and exclaims at the top of his voice that this is the man from the prophecy. Abe hurriedly looks around at everyone around him, but finds that Seo Joo-hyun has already escaped, passing out. He runs, informing his phone caller that he must stop Seo Joo-hyun, and to do so, he needs every last detail from the previous prophecy. Meanwhile, Seo Joo-hyun is already in another place, looking around carefully. He looks worried, even admitting that he's uneasy. As people continue to flee amidst the wreckage, he goes to meet the danger. However, he believes this relic will be challenging to deal with. Its character is obviously complex. A familiar voice calls out to him, demanding him to stop, but Seo Joo-hyun doesn't even turn around. It's Abe. Pulling out a gun, he demands Seo Joo-hyun not to move, or he'll get shot. Seo Joo-hyun plays dumb and is just surprised to see a familiar face here, to which Abe demands that he just open his backpack and show him its contents. With fury in his eyes, he adds that this time, it's severe, but he is distracted by another loud sound. In contrast, Seo Joo-hyun is distracted by the windows popping up around them with information that something unknown is approaching them. Right under Abe and Seo Joo-hyun's feet, the ground cracked, and bright rays of light seeped out of the cracks. With a tense expression on his face, Seo Joo-hyun tries to cover himself with his hands, either in an attempt to protect himself from an unknown threat, or to avoid hurting his eyes from the glow. A beam of light rises in a massive column into the night sky above the city, signaling the appearance of the tomb and drawing attention to it. And blades are starting to erupt out of ordinary concrete structures for some reason. People who hadn't had time to run away looked around in amazement, trying to figure out what had happened. Sharp pieces of metal are sticking out of literally every corner. While other people panic and try to take care of the injured, Seo Joo-hyun holds her head, trying to deal with the pain. He turns his head to look at the others and thinks the layout isn't the best. There are too many ordinary people here, and all of them are threatened by an obviously cruel relic. Standing up, he shakes himself off and examines the many blades, wondering where so many of them came from. The answer comes to him quickly, though. He recalls, it seems, this tomb that holds a deadly katana in its depths. Muramasa, the blacksmith, works sweatily on his sword. It is in his honor, the founder of the weapons school, that a tomb is named after him. And it is his blades that are known for their unusual properties and the stories that surround them. The shogun, more like a demon with red eyes, attacks a man. Wanting power over all of Japan, he gets a cursed weapon made especially for him. The soldiers gather by destroying the blades. There have been too many accidents and deaths in the Shogun dynasty associated with them, so it's only the most logical step. Throwing a glance at the windows, reporting that he has attracted the relic's attention and that his body is damaged, Seo Juhong concludes that this is all he knows. Except, of course, the expected fact that the relic hates humanity. A tiny red lightning bolt slips past his face, causing him to deflect his head slightly. Sliding his sleeve, Seo Juhong can see that this lightning bolt has left 3 nasty marks on his palm and wrist, damaging them. This spurs him to mop up the tomb as soon as possible. But then Abe sneaks up from behind, weapon in hand, reminding him that he actually told Seo Juhong not to move. He rests the muzzle of the gun at the base of his neck and repeats his demand, open the backpack and reveal all its contents. Putting his hands up, Seo Juhyun thinks about how annoyed he is by Abe's pestering and calmly states that it looks like a robbery and he sees no reason to listen at all. Abe reminds him that this occasion is the gun in his hand and that it's time for Seo Juhyun to stop showing off. This is the last warning he's voiced. Seo Juhong suggests with a smile not to rant, but to just shoot to kill. Abe wonders if he heard him correctly, to which Seo Juhyun repeats his suggestion, but also warns that he would refrain from firing if he were in someone else's shoes. Abe explodes, yelling that he is actually giving him a chance to handle the situation amicably, and that maybe Seo Juhyun will realize something when the bullet ends up in his leg. He adds that he didn't mean to and pulls the trigger, but the gun in his hands explodes suddenly. Abe curses, grabbing his burned hand, and Seo Juhyun remarks with a cute smile that he did warn him not to shoot here, didn't he? With the calmest of looks, he states that tombs have their own special rules, and firearms simply don't work within their walls. Otherwise, it would be all too easy. Abe demands to know where Seo Juhong obtained this information, and he must have been the one who stole the relic from yesterday's tomb. Without blinking an eye, Seo Juhong confirms that it's him and grabs Abe by the collar, pulling him toward him. He arbitrarily tells Abe to forget about the axes, while he demands to let him go and tell him what Seo Juhong is up to. And Seo Juhyun says he has to get rid of the Japanese archaeologist. So he throws Abe with force, pinning him to the floor in a special spot. These are immediately taken advantage of by strange, slimy creatures that remotely resemble humans, who immediately grab Abe and wrap their arms around him. Seo Juhong doesn't answer this question and suggests that they just watch and learn, indicating that they may see each other again later. As he runs away, Abe, held down by the monster's arms, yells after him that he's sure to get him again. Ducking under the weight of the monsters, he mutters that he will finish off Seo Juhong. The other people who happen to be here look around him hard. At the same time, Abe tries to reassure them, telling them everything is under control and wondering if any of them speak Japanese. One man in the crowd steps forward toward the slimy puddle. Abe rushes him to help him quickly while other people warn him not to approach. They remind him that Abe has a gun and could be dangerous, while the man hesitates to leave someone trapped anyway. Abe, starting to get nervous, hesitantly asks why they're procrastinating. He holds out his credentials, admitting that he's an archaeologist from Japan and that he's just here to help deal with this situation. He promises to help all these people get out while they look at him with apparent disbelief. Meanwhile, Seo Juhong continues his journey through the tomb among the swords. Stopping between the spiky pillars, he pulls out the stuff he managed to swipe from Abe and decides to see what it even is. Thinking back on their brief encounter, he's glad that he was able to empty his pockets quickly and that people still don't know much about the tombs. An expert with 15 years of experience definitely has his work cut out for him. The stolen items turn out to be a simple rope bracelet and a small candy in a clear package. Seo Juhong quickly realizes, looking at the bracelet, that this relic is referenced in a Korean fairy tale about children who become the sun and moon. In this tale, a tiger attacks the mother of the family just for rice cakes. The predator also tries to eat the children, but they escape by climbing up a rope that has fallen from the sky. Seo Juhong doubts that it's a powerful relic, but puts it aside for the future anyway. At the same time, notification windows pop up all around. They report that Seo Juhong has unlocked the 4th and final skill, which the latter is definitely happy about and thinks it's about time. From above, a stream of purple light illuminates him, causing him to tilt his head back. The windows tell him that the skills have been unlocked and the mission is complete, and the reward can be received as soon as Seo Juhong leaves the tomb, which he eagerly awaits. With a nervous smile, he notices that the raven has indeed made some sort of game out of his craft. Waving away the intrusive windows, though, Seo Juhong says he doesn't mind such games as long as they work in his favor. Suddenly, a deafening scream alerts him and makes him look to see what's going on. Up ahead, someone is loudly calling for help and begging someone to get away. Seo Juhong realizes that the sound is coming from the canyon that the light plate bridge crosses and looks down. The sight he sees makes his eyes widen with amazement. Down there, a woman with a knife clutched tightly in her hand is looming over the fallen man. Seo Juhong suspects it's another trap. This girl is enveloped in an ominous red-black glow, while the people around her plead with her to calm down and ask others to help restrain her. Her eyes have no pupils, and the veins in her face are bulging. She doesn't even seem to hear herself being addressed. Seo Juhong realizes at a glance that this girl is possessed, and anyone who touches her will suffer the same fate. And the more people who fall under the curse, the harder it will be for those not affected to escape, and most likely, no one will get out of here. Such is the nature of this bloodthirsty place. The more lives given, the longer the bridge to the other side of the canyon becomes. This whole tomb is more like a sacrificial altar. Seo Ju-hyun shouts to the people downstairs and asks how they got there. Did Abe move them there by any chance? Disturbed people confirm this. According to them, Abe got rid of a couple of traps himself, and when they helped him out, such was his gratitude. He says that all the witnesses have to die so he can keep his secret. This makes Seo Juhong frown angrily. He clearly doesn't like this decision. Despite the shouts of those concerned for his safety and the number of blades in the wall, he slides down the edge, keeping his balance. Snatching up his own dagger, he ruthlessly, swiftly, and clearly slices through the blades that get in his way, and lands calmly and even softly on the ground in a wreck of metal. The possessed girl immediately turns around, sensing the presence of a new person. At the shouts of the people caught by the tomb, she rushes straight at Seo Juhong with beastly speed, who only ducks down slightly and holds his dagger tightly, preparing to meet her. Clutching the rope bracelet in his other hand, Seo Juhong announces that it's time to test this relic as well. Then, he throws his arm forward, commanding the relic to stop the girl. The rope snakes forward from his fist in a wriggling snake. She wraps the possessed woman in several loops, causing her to let out an astonished sound. Tightly bound in arms and legs, the girl rolls on the ground, dropping her weapon from her hands. With a grim face, Seo Juhong comes closer, admitting that it was easy. He advises the possessed woman to stay that way, and he takes the short blade she was clutching in the palm of her hand. That one immediately tries to talk to Seo Juhong, first wanting to know who he even is. Still, after recognizing that it doesn't matter at all Seo Juhong has to do is go in for the kill. To which the man squints, asking how anything dares to order what he should do, which elicits a cry of surprise from the relic. Seo Juhong looks at the description of the relic in the window that just so happens to appear and is disappointed to note that it's only a rank C relic, making it useless. But then, where did he get such an arrogant attitude? He throws the blade away, thinking that he has wasted his time on it, and that he should have been looking for the main relic of the tomb. He is stopped by a scream. The previously possessed girl begs to untie it while the rope coils around her, inviting her to have fun. Seo Juhong sighs tiredly at the relic's demeanor. He reaches out and demands the rope back, grumpily noting that all it takes is a turn away, and the relics cease to be so docile. The relic is wrapped around his wrist like a bracelet, and Seo Juhong himself addresses the people, offering to lead them out. He warns them not to ask questions and just trust him. Meanwhile, surrounded by swords, Abe laughs victoriously, declaring himself a genius. Lowering his gaze to his palms, he proudly declares that he has managed to both get rid of all the witnesses and locate the room where Muramasa's relic should be. Spreading his hands, he greedily looks over the many blades, saying that all he needs to do is find a relic here and then get rid of Seo Juhong. With his palm around the hilt of one of his swords, Abe remembers that he robbed him and promises that he will make Seo Juhong suffer very soon. He goes through one sword after another, but each one is thrown to the floor in a rage. Flipping off another blade, he shouts in rage that they are all fakes and can't figure out where the authentic relic is. Suddenly, a foreign voice, yelling that he had found something, makes Abe turn around. It turns out to be a crowd of people clearly displeased with him, angrily questioning why Abe was even trying to get rid of them and demanding that he get the hell out of there. Yet the only thing he manages to ask before he is grabbed by the collar with insults is how these people managed to get out. But of course, they don't respond anymore. They just roll Abe to the floor and call for him to be kicked. He shouts. Seo Juhong leisurely walks closer and laughs at how ridiculous such an overconfident Abe looks right now. He clenched his teeth and grumbled, saying that he knew it was all Seo Juhong's fault. Seo Ju-hyun exclaims that of course it's him, but who else? He also calls Abe an idiot for not finding the relic when he was here first. Raising a shining golden axe into the air, he simply orders him to find the relic. Suddenly, the old, cracked sword is enveloped by a dark energy. Seo Juhong hums, noting that this weapon was under his very nose. As Seo Juhong retrieves the weapon from the ground where it stuck, Abe says he can't believe it because how can a piece of the sword be Muramasa? Seo Juhong assumes that the one will regain its proper appearance once activated. Still, in the meantime, he brings the relic closer to the glow, hearing a voice calling him a fool for trying to obtain power. Sword notices that he's in terrible shape, but all he needs is the blood of 10 people to recover, and that's the only way Seo Juhong can get his power. Abe squints warily, trying to figure out who's talking. He can't believe what's happening. Someone in the crowd asks if this means that 10 of them will lose their lives here today. Others, without even thinking about it, immediately deny this option. But Seo Juhong only frowns silently, contemplating how he should handle the situation. Then he lowers his gaze to the weapon, notices that swordsmen always come up with something like this, and asks about a test for himself, to which the relic incomprehensibly mumbles that Seo Juhong just needs to take people's lives for him. Enveloped by the dark aura of the blade, Seo Juhong squints and firmly refuses to do so, to which the sword shrieks indignantly and makes an attempt to break free from the tight grip. Seo Juhong simply replies that there's no reason for him to do such a thing if he can just subdue the relic and clutch it so tightly that in flashes of red lightning, the sword starts wailing about how much it hurts. The tomb begins to shake, and rocks fall from the high stone walls. Seo Juhong explains that it is the blade that is being tested now, and if it fails, it will simply be shattered. His demand is simple. He says the relics just need to hurry up and obey him, that's all. Lightning bolts gather in a whole bunch around the blade as he curses at some human trying to do such a thing to him. A wave of supernatural power sweeps up the wind, causing a squall that forces everyone present to close up and clam up, depriving them of the ability to see what is happening. But in the end, the figure of Seo Juhong emerges among the clouds of dust, with the relic in his hands glowing with a much calmer hue. He clutches the hilt of an already recovered sword covered in blue flames. He proudly announces that the dungeon has been cleared. Standing in front of the crowd of people trapped here, Seo Juhong holds the end of the rope in his hand and explains that they just need to climb up, using it to escape the tomb. People rush away from the place, not forgetting to thank Seo Juhong for saving them. He catches Abe trying to blend in, telling him to stay a little longer and not to try to pretend to be a regular person. With a smile, Seo Juhong asks a somewhat nervous Abe if he really wants to get rid of the witnesses as soon as he's outside. The latter, smiling anxiously, immediately denies everything and promises not to lay a finger on anyone as long as he is allowed to leave the place. Abe even desperately adds that he'll arrange for Seo Juhong to be accepted into the Japanese squad as an archaeologist so he can make a lot of money just by continuing to work on their side. He even tries to impress that their team has a relic of predictions, the use of which will make life very easy, thinking it's a great suggestion. To which Seo Ju-hyun calmly replies to the flabbergasted Abe that he managed to amuse him. Seo Juhong notes that he can't use the predictions because of the relic's loyalty to its original owner. Abe hastily waves his hands and remarks that there's a team of experts working on the item, and they'll definitely help with it. In mercy, Seo Juhong allows Abe to climb up the rope, but on the condition that he will be the last to climb. Abe grins contentedly, happy to have survived, and assuming that Seo Juhong was bribed by the promise of a considerable paycheck. He even tries to act nice as he gets up, apologizing for everything he said earlier, and saying that skilled people like Seo Juhong are always welcome on the team. But Seo Juhong nonchalantly turns the topic to the subject of the deal, asking about the team handling the relic items, explaining that without trust in the experts, it would be challenging to work with them. To which Abe laughs a strained laugh and says not to worry about it. However, his following words made Seo Juhong's eyes widen in amazement. These experts are a famous TCVM group. Seo Juhong grins. He had found out what he wanted, though he still involuntarily bursts out a question. Is it really true? In the next instant, he kicks Abe in the shoulder, causing him to let go of the rope and wince in pain. Flying down and looking at a smugly smiling Seo Juhong, Abe is still trying to ask what it all means. Because of the fall, he injures his legs. Seo Ju-hyun explains above that Abe only has himself to thank for being talkative because in an attempt to bargain his life away, he reported everything Seo Ju-hyun wanted to know. He adds that no one would want to work for trash like Abe, while he mumbles desperately, begging Seo Juhong to wait a bit. As the tomb continues to crumble around him and larger stones fall, Abe reaches his hand toward the light. He asks if Seo Ju-hyun really intends to ruin a man so quietly, and then hysterically demands that he return. Later that night, in the restroom of a nearby building, Seo Juhong stands in front of a mirror, about to assess the damage from the sortie. There are loud voices and scraps of someone else's argument, but he pays no attention to them. Until a threat to take his life is sounded, it makes him clam up unhappily. So he opens the backpack and orders the relics lying there to shut up and behave, asking which one of them started it first. Instead of answering, they now pounce on Seo Juhong together. He grabs the sword and asks if he started it, but Murasama just demands that he let him go. That's all. So, to shut up the relic, Seo Juhong throws it into the toilet bowl, and yet, with a disgruntled look, offers the blade to enjoy. The one shouts again. As he closes the door to the stall, he unsuccessfully grazes his own arm, causing him to crouch down, yelping painfully. Most of his forearm is now occupied by a burn, and it's just the aftermath of Muramasa's forced submission. Seo Juhong recalls how he handled the relic and explains that when ignoring the challenge and relying solely on pure strength, the archaeologist's body takes a lot of damage. The stronger the relic, the longer it takes to resist. And if he keeps going on like he did with that sword, he just won't be able to last much longer. With a glance at the sword stuck in the toilet, Seo Juhong thinks that he has no other choice. If he doesn't subdue the relics, they will betray him. Then, a window unfolds before his eyes, informing him that there is a reward for unlocking the basic skills of a tomb raider. Immediately, another window unfolds nearby, making him wonder what it's about. It offered two reward options, vaguely named the Path of Submission and the Path of Friendship. Seo Juhong throws his head up and asks the Raven if he really has to choose a way to control the relics, and why is it even necessary? Is it really just a test? He looks at his injured arm and says he's not going to stop because of a minor injury, choosing the submission route. The window kindly informs him that Seo Juhong has activated the past reward, but nothing else happens, leaving him perplexed. He walks around the room, checking every relic, and doesn't understand why they couldn't give him a reward. He grumbles that if Raven was so eager to mimic the game system, at least he could do it with quality. Suddenly, dropping his wounded hand into his pocket, he fumbles for something there that makes him wonder. There turns out to be a small silver pill that, upon examination, unfolds a window, suggesting it is a consumable relic of unknown rank. Looking at the item doubtfully, Seo Juhong ponders, does the fact that it is a consumable relic mean that he should immediately swallow it? However, he quickly makes up his mind, saying that he has nothing to lose, and if he dies, he will blame it all on fate. So, without further ado, Seo Juhong pops the tiny pill into his mouth. Then, as if nothing happened, he pulls the sword out of the toilet, saying it's time for them to go home and complaining that it now stinks, admitting that he regrets his momentary decision a bit. Relic angrily promises him revenge. A sudden sensation in his body makes him shudder painfully. Seo Juhong realizes that the pill has already begun to take effect and involuntarily drops his sword, rightly offended by such an act. Watching the wounds on his arm disappear in a bright white glow, he wondered if it was just a healing relic, and stroking the now smooth and clean forearm, laments that it was a waste, for relics with such abilities are very expensive and rare. A new notification pops up in front of his eyes, informing him that after enduring the side effects of the relic and fully recovering, Seo Juhong has activated a new skill related to immunity. Thoth rereads the name of his new ability in surprise, noting that this is the first time he's seen such a thing. And it makes him think that it might be some unique ability created solely for himself. A newscast shows damaged buildings, announcing that a significant earthquake has struck downtown Seoul, with an unidentified object at its epicenter. An ambulance stands near the excited crowd. The announcer explains that about 50 people are trapped in a facility they claim is full of death traps. A shaken man reveals Abe's presence in the dungeon, his involvement with the Japanese research team, and his plans to eliminate witnesses. The announcer concludes by saying that the Korean government has already demanded an explanation from Japan. China and Russia have already joined these demands. As he continues to talk, the man watching the news grabs the remote to turn off the TV, calling Abe an idiot in passing. In the central office of a Japanese research team, a group of men in suits reports to a bowed Mori Hiroyuki, asking if they've any idea what they've ever done. They reproach him with the fact that the information about the tombs is now available to the whole world, and their country is in big trouble. They are outraged that his subordinate made a mess of things and died because such an outcome is an impossible luxury for him. Mori bows low and apologizes. With a tortured smile, he tries to explain that unforeseen circumstances have intervened in the form of some Korean from the prophecy. But he is rudely interrupted, reminding him that he promised to handle the situation despite this very man from the prophecy. Mori admits that it happened, but mentions the complicating side factors. He tries to remedy the situation by saying he can use the item relic to find the Korean man. Still, he gets a reminder that Mori himself had previously said that nothing would work without close contact between the relic's owner and the person being sought. Mori reminds them that Abe marked the target with a relic, which means they should be able to handle it now, even though the coordinates won't be entirely accurate. He also reassures the audience that scientists are seeking a way to deal with the relic without owning it, and assures them that the TCVM group is investing a significant amount of time and effort into this research. Reluctantly, they announce that they are giving Mori another chance, and he immediately begins to thank them profusely, assuring them that he will do everything he can to eliminate the threat. Meanwhile, Seo Juhong examines himself, thinking about the immunity he received, and what would be great if that immunity protected him from the evil influence of the relics. He notes that no relic owner has ever escaped this affliction. In his past life, it was because of this that the healing relics became valuable. But if his new ability can protect him from something like this, then it's a rare gift available only to him. Seo Juhong sits up and assumes that he got all of this from that bird. Looking up higher, he tries to ask the raven what the raven is up to, and what benefit there might be to giving Seo Juhong an advantage over the others. He demands a response, noting that Raven likes to talk so much since he uses endless notification windows to inform him of anything. He waits for a while, but of course, no one answers him, to which Seo Juhong sneers and calls the bird a jerk. Suddenly, a phone call rings. Seo Juhong is surprised at first, but soon realizes it's Seung Woo, a member of the very gang he entrusted with intelligence. He calls them his precious henchmen with mocking affection and asks how the work is going. His interlocutor flares up but quickly cools down, deciding that there is no need to pay attention now. Being in Las Vegas, standing in front of the bright lights hidden behind glass, the one reports to check the list of visitors to the auction house. And there were 3 people with the name that Seo Juhong was so interested in. Seo Juhong hummed thoughtfully. Seo Juhoon gets out of bed, noting that apparently he'll have to go there and personally complete the inspection, to which Seung Woo interjects if he's really willing to do that. Suddenly, interrupting the conversation, a window pops up in front of him, warning that a high-ranked belief relic has been used on him. His future has been predicted, to which Seo Juhong mutters that this thing is already starting to annoy him. The caller hovering on the phone asks if Seo Juhong is still there, but he silently ponders. But eventually, he does confirm that he is listening, and with a smile, adds that he will stay in the US longer than he originally planned, because there is one place he wants to visit. A relic in the form of a book floats in the air in a glow of power. It is a work by Prince Satoku, containing predictions about Japan's future. There was no evidence of its existence, but it was still mentioned frequently in ancient writings. In fact, this relic was one of the first to enter society, and instead of building a tomb, it simply chose a hostess. To be more precise, the mistress was Sasaki Yuku, calmly walking somewhere. She bumps into a book and picks it up, puzzled as to what it is, and thinks that lying further in the mud will only make her dirtier. But in the end, she still leaves the find where she picked it up and walks away. Sasaki became the one chosen by the prophetic relic. Sasaki holds up the book irritably, having found it among her belongings. The relic follows her wherever she goes. The same book suddenly appears among other mundane publications at the booth, which frightens Sasaki. She burns and tears the relic, but it keeps appearing. An unassuming man in an austere suit explains the situation to Sasaki. He is a representative of the authorities who have learned of the relic's existence and are now trying to recruit its owner to the research team. Thanks to her cooperation, her family is now living well, smiling in a shared photo, and the government can find relics one by one thanks to predictions. It seemed like she would live happily ever after, but things always don't go according to plan. Since Sasaki left her studies to concentrate on her work, she couldn't understand the meanings of the complex kanji, which meant the predictions were incomplete. She tries to find out the meaning of the symbol from another employee, but the other employee just can't see it. A lifeless hand lies in the dark, surrounded by red sparks. The owner of the other relic item outranked Sasaki, and it cut her life short relatively early on. Meanwhile, Seo Juhong arrives at the international airport, explaining that he initially didn't want to contact Sasaki because of her imminent death. Still, since they're trying to track him down, he'll have to adjust his plans. Already sitting on the airplane, he thinks that the fact that Japan got involved with the very same Quan doesn't make her better in his eyes, so now he just has to ruin their plans. Meanwhile, Sasaki sits quietly in front of the TV, watching some singer perform while someone calls her name a few times. Sasaki clutches the pillow to her chest, dreamily noting that the speaker is not only handsome, but talented, to which the man looking for her remarks that it's about time she got down to business. She, pouting, clarifies whether it is necessary right now because the most beautiful moment will be shown soon, to which the man notices that she is watching it for the 4th time. In the end, Sasaki does go up. However, she notices that she really likes the show, and the man awkwardly apologizes for pulling her away from watching it. As they walk, an office worker politely greets Sasaki. With a sigh, Sasaki sits down at the table, complaining that she has to read and interpret complex inscriptions again, a task that reminds her that every obscure symbol must be copied precisely and passed on. She, however, already knows all of this, so she simply confirms that she will and looks at the page. Suddenly, her harsh scream causes the other workers in the department to jump to their feet. They ask what happened, and Sasaki, grasping the woman desperately, says that the book says that she will be killed. This time, the words are plain and simple, but communicate that she will be robbed of her life. Sasaki throws another glance at the page filled with rows of glowing symbols and asks, "What's going on?" She thinks it's definitely going to be because of Seo Juhong since Abe died because of him too. The other employees ask her to calm down and inquire if there are any other predictions besides this one, because the relic would likely provide more information if an intruder were to come to the department. With some trepidation, Sasaki looks toward the relic, trying to cheer herself up so that she can see the future. With determination in her eyes, she declares that the department workers are right, and there's no way she'll lose to Seo Juhong. Meanwhile, Seo Juhong arrives at Haneda Airport, while the secret services are talking over each other, declaring alert because their target has arrived. When asked if he needs to be eliminated, the answer is negative, only to observe with relic items for now. As Seo Juhong heads for the exit, one of the conversationalists clarifies if they had any problems tracking his path last time, to which he gets the reply that it's fine now and the relic can handle it. Commander Mori, standing before the soldiers, announces that using the prediction, they will solve the problem once and for all, and the first step will be theirs. The soldiers simultaneously confirm that they understand. Meanwhile, Seo Juhong enjoys the sushi, noticing that, as you might expect, the dish prepared by the master is excellent. Putting away the sticks, he wonders how much longer the local archaeologists will put off attacking him. Opening a notebook page completely scribbled with repetitive phrases, Seo Juhong notes that he's been threatening Sasaki's life for a while now. Since that's the case, the local military should already show itself. Adding a couple more lines to the page, he thinks that the relic should have already told her about these notes, because they should definitely get her attention. And given the difficulty in tracking him, Seo Ju-hong deliberately moved as slowly as possible. When he hears a sound, he turns his head. Looking in the direction of the source of the noise, he notes that the Japanese soldiers should be here by now. Behind the wall, a man with a gun nervously orders the person next to him to be quiet. The one dressed as a cook hurriedly apologizes. They sit behind the screen that separates the small room where Seo Ju-hyun is having lunch from the corridor. Chef turns to the waitress dressed Sasaki and asks if she's ready. She replies that she's not at all and asks if that's normal. She recalls that the man there is going to kill her, and she doesn't understand why she has to go. Cook reassures her, saying that all she has to do is look Seo Ju-hong in the eye, and that by handling this, Sasaki would be able to easily track down Seo Ju-hong and find out everything about him. The silhouette behind the screen is still immovable. He also reminds her that Seo Ju-hong has no idea what Sasaki looks like, so everything should be fine. She grudgingly agrees, admitting that it's true. Chef assures her that if things get complicated, they'll get Sasaki out of trouble at any cost, and she, clutching the small tray tightly, tells herself that she just has to do it. As she reaches to pull the screen apart, she reassures herself that archaeologists assure her that her broadcast relic is the strongest one here. With a confident look, Sasaki declares that she has an advantage over Seo Ju-hong, and he really doesn't need to know anything about her appearance. Seo Ju-hong smiles smugly as he hears Sasaki hesitantly announce that the order is ready. Once Sasaki sees him, she is immediately enchanted by how handsome he is. Blushing and pressing her palms to her face, she thinks about how he's prettier than even that idol on TV. Placing a small tray of sushi on the table, Sasaki laments that her department is about to take the life of such a handsome man. Still with a blush on her cheeks and kneeling beside the table, she thinks this is an unprecedented loss. Seo Ju-hyun thanked her with a smile, thinking that this was something he didn't reasonably expect. He looks Sasaki over, realizing that this is the exact owner of the relic items he was looking for. Pulling out a sword from under his clothes with his other hand, Seo Ju-hong remarks that he is impressed by the fact that she came here in person. The military, watching him through cameras, immediately notices this and orders someone else to get ready because Sasaki is in danger. Meanwhile, the men with guns standing in front of the entrance to the room where Seo Ju-hong is having lunch are cursing Sasaki, wondering why she didn't come out immediately after completing the task and what she could possibly be thinking in such a case. Suddenly, Sasaki rises to slam the screen door shut tighter, leaving both the military and Seo Ju-hong discouraged. And then she turns around and asks with excitement on her face if she could become a fan of Seo Ju-hong. Such a suggestion obviously throws him off balance, making him wonder what's going on. Sasaki chuckles and, apologizing, clarifies that Seo Ju-hong is definitely not an actor. One of the military men grabs his head in despair, not understanding why Sasaki would lock himself in a room with Seo Ju-hong until the other draws his attention to something by pointing his finger at the screen. The camera shows Sasaki talking to Seo Ju-hong, and the military speculates that she's trying to get more information from him. But that still requires Captain Mori's approval. With a nervous look, Seo Ju-hong tries to clarify with Sasaki what she meant by her suggestion. She hurriedly explains that she just wants to chat. Still realizing that perhaps the person she's talking to doesn't know Japanese, she begins typing something passionately on her phone. Finished typing, Sasaki shows Seo Ju-hong his phone screen. There, in broken English, she briefly explains the situation. Still, her inept construction of phrases makes Seo Ju-hong grudgingly wonder what she was using. Glaring at the befuddled Sasaki, her new icon, Seo Ju-hong, notes that he generally understands what she means, but doesn't understand why he's acting so careless in this dangerous situation. Borrowing her phone, he types out a reply, noting that it doesn't really take long to think about such a great opportunity. Finished, Seo Ju-hong shows the message to a smiling Sasaki, and from the looks of it, she's happy with what she sees. Meanwhile, in the corridor, the men with guns are whispering. One asks the other if he can hear anything, but he gets a negative answer. Suddenly, startling them and making them question themselves, a table abruptly flies out from somewhere, and a rope dangling from the ceiling jiggles. Stunned, they notice too late exactly what the rope is, and only have time to exclaim that there is something there. Relic binds them tightly, leaving them lying on the floor, and Seo Ju-hong and Sasaki leave the room. With a chuckle, Seo Ju-hong declares that he knew something like this could happen here, so he set up a relic in the hallway beforehand. Sasaki looks out from behind him in amazement. As she walks away, she looks back at the bound men asking her to stop, while Seo Ju-hong calms her down, explaining that it's all just so they won't be disturbed, and afterwards suggests they go on a date. It turns out that the message he showed Sasaki back then was asking if she wanted to go for a walk with him. Sasaki asks with a chuckle if Seo Ju-hyun really knows Japanese. Slipping his jacket over his shoulders, the man admits that not much at all and clarifies if other people came with Sasaki as well. He assumes the military is here with her, which Sasaki confirms, a little surprised. Seo Ju-hong explains that the soldiers don't like him, and therefore are unlikely to let Sasaki go with him. He also calls them boring, and implies that they are burdening her with tedious work, which she quickly agrees with. Seo Juhong rubs Sasaki's head and offers to run away with him, letting the military chase after them, only asking him to keep up if possible. Sasaki is surprised to notice that he doesn't seem scary at all in that way. Leaving the bound and mooing military behind her, she thinks, is he really the man who is going to take her life? Keeping a little behind, Sasaki believes she still has an advantage, as she has looked into his eyes and can now read the future. But when Seo Juhong reports that they now seem to have broken away, Sasaki giddily remembers that she had left the relic at home. She's about to decide that it doesn't mean anything because Seo Juhong is obviously a good person, as the blade of the katana presses almost absent-mindedly against her throat. Flustered by this turn of events, Sasaki, who has helplessly raised her palms, is given only a couple of simple demands. Be quiet and show her phone soon. And when she legitimately obeys, Seo Ju-hyun calls her a good girl with a satisfied smile. She still can't keep from screaming at her cell phone though, when Seo Ju-hyun drops it on the ground and then steps on it, shattering the device. Sasaki asks indignantly what he's doing, and Seo Juhong, still not putting his weapon away, puts his finger to his mouth and tells her to be quiet, explaining that he's only getting rid of things that can be traced back to him. Approaching Sasaki from behind, he adds that military intervention at this point would be highly unpleasant. Leaning down to her ear, Seo Juhong grins and calls her the owner of the heirloom items, wondering if she really believed he could unrecognize her. Nearly crying, Sasaki bitterly realizes that the man knew everything from the beginning. Now, in her eyes, Seo Juhong only seems even more creepy than before. The action shifts to a cafe, where an employee places drinks in front of Seo Juhong and Sasaki before stepping away. With tears in her eyes, Sasaki watches as the door closes behind the waiter, cutting her off from possible help. Seo Juhong orders a relic in the form of a rope to bind Sasaki, which it does. The relic ties her wrists together, causing a brief shriek of amazement. With her voice trembling with fear, Sasaki calls Seo Juhong a liar and says that he went too far in deceiving her with this date. To which he only laughs and, grinning as he picks up the extravagant dessert, declares that they're already having a great time at the couple's cafe, so this must count as a date. Sasaki asks him worriedly what he is going to do with her then. Is he going to take her life like the prophetic relic predicted? Tasting the dessert, Seo Ju-hyun admits that he had really planned to do just that before. Pointing to the katana in his backpack, he adds that he could have easily taken her head off if she had gotten a little closer then. In front of an astonished Sasaki, Seo Juhong adds indifferently that she was even stupider than one would assume, which is what allowed him to get this far. Motioning her a notepad, he orders her to take out the prophetic relic and write down everything she sees there. Sasaki admits to worrying that she left this very relic at her house. Seo Juhong then simply pulls up her sleeve, exposing 3 bright red marks, and asks if she really hoped he wouldn't notice something like that. He also clarifies if these marks appeared right after the first time he used the relic. He tells Sasaki to touch the marked forearm and summon the prophetic relic right here. If she summons it, she can use it here. Lowering himself back into his own seat, he notes with a sigh that he finds it hard to believe she wasn't even explained the basics. Sasaki, meanwhile, stares in amazement at the prophetic relic, indeed appearing in a small cloud of smoke. She is clearly surprised that it worked. Seo Juhong, on the other hand, calmly states that all Sasaki has to do now is rewrite what she can but miss a line, and she'll be killed instantly. He tells her to get started, and watches her work with her hands tied together. Sasaki does precisely what she was told. Time is slowly ticking away. Seo Ju-hyun is just watching something on his phone until something causes him to get distracted. He looks up and asks why Sasaki is slowed down if she's not getting a break. She honestly replies that it's because her arm hurts, and clarifies how much text he needs. Returning to the phone screen under the gaze of a worried Sasaki, Seo Juhong repeats all the text that's in the relic, to which Sasaki cautiously offers to just hand him the item relic if he'll let her leave. But Seo Juhong refuses, ordering him to keep rewriting. Sasaki sobs. Squinting his eyes, Seo Juhong explains that if he wanted a prophetic relic, he would have appropriated it long ago. However, he did not do so because of its S rank. Attempting to subdue such a one could fail and bring great suffering. He recalls how bad his arm looked after subduing Muramasa. After all, this relic is a rank below the thing's relic, and if he tried to deal with the thing relic now, he would damage more than just his arm. Staring at his phone, he notices that he doesn't have the healing relic anyway. There's some sound that makes him look up and take his eyes off his smartphone. The soldiers arrive at the cafe. The manager accompanying them asks the soldiers to leave before the customers get frightened, to which Commander Mori only waves them off, saying that they will get through this quickly. He orders his subordinates to find any other exits and to examine every room. The soldiers immediately rush to carry out his orders. Opening the door to look out, Seo Juhong notices the obvious. The military is already here. He turns to Sasaki to clarify how much she's had time to do, and she replies that she's almost done filling out her notebook. Seo Juhong decides that's enough and takes the sheets, which causes Sasaki to clarify in amazement, wondering if she can go then. But Seo Juhong says there's more to it. With those words, he pulls out a sword, the mere sight of which gives Sasaki a great fright. Nervously looking at the weapon in front of her, she tries to convince Seo Juhong to keep her alive, saying that she could write more predictions, and wouldn't that be more useful then? But he simply replies that it's not as important as he thinks it's, and explains that it's the relic that Sasaki has been using all this time, not the other way around. Brandishing the katana, he says it's the only solution to the problem that will allow Sasaki to survive. After which, with a smile, he thrusts his weapon into the relic. Blue lightning bolts shoot out of the book, causing Sasaki to shrink, and the relic screams, asking what Seo Juhong was even thinking. But he only continues to drive the blade deeper, wrenching a new scream from the relic. A stunned Sasaki, blinking confusedly, tries to figure out what it all means. And then, most likely because of the connection to the relic, faints. For the accomplishment in front of Seo Juhong, several windows immediately appear in front of him, informing him that he has gained a new rank, strengthened his ability to track relics and scout the environment, and advanced in the path of domination. Just then, soldiers kick the door to the room, exclaiming that they finally found him. Looking around, Commander Mori involuntarily wonders what happened here. The prophetic relic is engulfed in blue flames, and most of the pages have already been eaten by them, forcing one to ask what was done to it. Seo Juhong explains with a sneer that there's nothing to be surprised about. It's just that the relic is almost destroyed. Mori frowns indignantly. Pointing at Seo Juhong, he orders him to get rid of him now. Seo Juhong, on the other hand, seems barely surprised when a weapon is pointed at him. With a smile, he calls it a good joke and offers to try to carry out the threat if the military is so sure it has the strength. Commander Mori, confused and angry, asks what he means. Instead of explaining anything, Seo Juhong tosses a relic in the form of a rice cake to the ceiling, causing the military to be distracted by it, and offers to eat it. As the relic flies, a window opens above it, explaining its rank, just a C, and that it's a consumable relic. SEO Juhyun says that the item belonged to Abe, and now he's returning it. With a smile disappearing into the fog, he also adds that there is a rumor that you can kill for the taste of this pie. Mori catches the relic and is outraged as to how that rascal was able to disappear. Looking at the cake, which exudes a sweet smell, he wonders what Seo Juhong is up to. Finally, he notices the odor emanating from the relic. Both he and his subordinates begin to salivate with hunger. In the next second, soldiers pounce on Commander Mori in an attempt to seize the relic, demanding that he part with it as soon as possible. But the man pulls out his gun, calls them fools, and claims that the pie is his alone, and they all need to show respect for their seniors. A fight breaks out. Furniture and utensils fly and break into the room, and the soldiers are reminded that they too have guns and continue to try to take the relic for themselves. Meanwhile, sitting on an airplane, Seo Juhong confesses that there is simply no better option for escape, as the item he used not only enthralls ill-wishers, but also instantly transports the owner to another place. However, right now, he has more important things to do, namely, to see what the prophetic relic has predicted for him. With anticipation on his face, Seo Juhong opens the notebook. He recalls that TCVM supported the study and use of the relic, so there is some chance that Sasaki saw Director Kwon in person. SEO Juhong introduces their meeting, and if it happened, then there might be something about Kwon in the prediction as well. Seo Juhong flips through the pages of the notebook, looking for that particular moment. Suddenly, his eyes widened with a pleasant surprise. He had found just what he was looking for. The prophecy tells him that within a month, he must travel to a certain underworld filled with greed and desire. It is there that the prediction of a great calamity will be fulfilled. Trying to decipher what he reads, Seo Juhong believes that by this very underworld, he meant the underground Midas auction in Las Vegas. He recalls Seung-woo calling him after gathering information on Director Kwon. At that time, he reported that there were 3 people with the correct initials among the visitors. Hence, since the prophetic relic also indicated it, Kwon must be one of them. As the plane continues on its way, Seo Juhong admits that he's a bit confused by the last part of the prediction that spoke of disaster. Perhaps it's referring to global events. Rays of ominous red light fall from the sky, splitting the earth. This event was dubbed a world catastrophe, and it happened because the relics had too much influence on the world. The golden sparks reveal a variety of relics, from maps and books to antique masks and gold pocket watches. The world learned about all these relics after the catastrophe when tomb robbing began to gain popularity. Upon reviewing the prediction, Seo Juhong notices that, in his memory, this event has not occurred this early. As he closes the notebook, he notes that the main point of the prediction is that a particular deity will ask for cooperation, which means a divine relic will appear. Perhaps in the past, Director Kwon had become so powerful because of it. With a sinister smile, he notes that if this is indeed the case, then he owes it to himself to get this thing for himself at all costs. Meanwhile, a research team meeting is underway in Japan. It is reported that Sasaki has regained consciousness, although she now feels weak. A military officer reports to a group of concerned men in suits that that's not all. The LED relic has been completely destroyed. A listener clarifies whether it is true that at the exact moment, Captain Mori's group had a scuffle with their service weapons, resulting in serious injuries and failure to report to the meeting. The soldier confirms this. The department chairman jumps up, shouting that someone's injuries no longer matter. The soldier hastily apologizes. He continues to yell, asking if they are even taking the situation seriously. Someone tries to calm him down and focus him on something else, but the chairman says he just can't be calm. Behind his back, the door to the office opens. The girl looking in confirms in conversation that the prophetic relic has been destroyed, and the defense forces are facing significant problems. Her interlocutor grunts, asking if she's serious. He clarifies whether it was indeed one person who did it, and the girl confirms it, to which her interlocutor calls the perpetrator insane. Her interlocutor is in a building owned by TCVM, and when the girl asks what they should do and whether they should retaliate for the losses, he says there is no need. A man stands in an office by a panoramic window. When he hears the outrage that all their efforts invested in researching this relic have been wasted, he offers a different perspective. He explains to the woman walking somewhere that since this man has enough power to destroy a relic of this level, it would be more profitable to get him on his side. The woman hesitantly thinks that since Seo Juhong destroyed such an essential relic without regret, he might do something similar with the TCWM relic. She asks what they will do if he destroys the president's relic as well, to which her interlocutor only grins smugly. He laughs, assuring her that nothing will happen, and it's enough to promise Seo Juhong a reasonable payment, because in this world, money can solve all problems, and the woman just needs to keep an eye on him now. Already in Las Vegas, Seo Juhong is sitting quietly in some establishment near a window, sipping a drink. Putting his glass on the table, he notices with irritation that the men he hired are late. His attention, however, is quickly drawn to some noise, forcing him to turn his head in its direction. Seung-woo waves his palm, finally finding Seo Juhong with his gaze and calling his name. At the same time, another of his subordinates tries to explain to the staff that they have a business meeting there. Seo Juhong rebukes them for being half an hour late, to which Seung-woo simply points at a member of the staff, saying it's that guy's fault for refusing to let them inside. The guard repeats his memorized phrase, stating that this room is designated for the auction and is only accessible to those who participate. Seung-woo turns his attention to him, complaining that he won't shut up, and asks what they've done. With a tired expression on his face, Seo Juhong listens to the scolding. A member of the staff informs him that he will force the intruders out if they continue to make noise, and Seung-woo, not understanding anything, becomes indignant and demands to speak in Korean. Finally, Seo Juhong rebukes Seung-woo for demanding that people speak his language while in the United States. He mumbles awkwardly, agreeing that it really wasn't the best thing for him to do. With a friendly smile, Seo Juhong informs the staff that these people are his guests, and he will look after them. The guard immediately rushes to apologize, saying he had reported a terrible mistake. Still, Seo Juhong, not looking at the sour faces of the gang he had hired, laughs sweetly and says he understands, considering how poorly his guests had chosen their clothes. The guard walks away, and Seung-woo is amazed to notice that he didn't know Seo Juhong was capable of speaking English. Seung-woo smilingly waved him away, saying that this was not the time to think about such trivial matters, and instead asked him to tell him everything he had learned. Seung-woo, of course, agreed. He hands over a stack of papers containing information about 3 bidders with the correct initials. Seo Ju-hyun looks through it, noting that they've done a good job. Looking up, he decides that these guys might be helpful to him after all. Seung-woo wonders if Seo Juhong was able to find the person he was so interested in, and he receives confirmation. Seo Juhong drops the required file on the table, noticing that it's exactly the same fake identity that Kwon Tae-jun used in his past. And if he personally showed up for the auction, then it must represent an unprecedentedly strong relic. Pulling up the folder, Seo Juhong remarks that he had made sure of this beforehand. Flipping through its contents, he believes that there is some possibility that even a divine-level relic might be here. Seung-woo curiously wonders what Seo Jung is trying to find in the catalog, because such things are only available to wealthy people, and trying to get rich from them will most likely leave you with nothing. But Seo Juhong doesn't listen. Instead, he realizes that something is wrong here. Among all the various items, each with a photo and a small explanation in the catalog, there is not a single relic of divine level. Seo Juhong begins to suspect that the prediction was about something else. He lists a few things, causing Seung-woo to be perplexed, and announces that there are enough things he'd like to look at. This news makes Seung-woo jump up, resting his palm on the table. He can hardly believe that someone like Seo Juhong would participate in the auction. However, the man only calmly confirms it. Seung-woo asks if this is a joke because this isn't some random event, but rather the famous Midas. Seo Juhong's other subordinates look back at him questioningly as he yells out that the stakes here only start at 10 or 20 billion won, and that he assumed they were here purely for connections, not acquisitions. Seo Juhong slams down the catalog with a smile and asks if Seung-woo really thinks he doesn't have enough money to afford anything here. Seo Juhong gets up and heads away, while the gang has to catch up with him with questions about where he's going. The one only reminds him that this town lives for gambling. Standing at the very exit, Seo Juhong adds, grinning, that anything you want to do is possible here, as long as you have some money. Seung-woo opens his mouth in amazement, asking if he correctly realized that Seo Juhong was going to make money gambling, calling him a fool for his decision. As Seo Ju-hoon looks at the sparkling neon buildings, choosing where to start, Sung-woo declares that he has definitely lost his mind. The amount in Seo Ju-hong's account continues to grow, reaching 8 figures, prompting those around him to wonder how much it can potentially increase. Someone in the astonished crowd, joined by the gang, suggests that since he has 10 more moves, the final number could well be even higher. Sung-woo finds this unbelievable. He doesn't understand how slot machines can basically show such numbers and advises him to withdraw everything now to avoid losing it. Seo Ju-hong calmly continues to sit in front of the machine, above which his winnings are listed, over 68 million. As he continues to watch this staggering success, Sung-woo confesses that he's baffled by the fact that it's possible to earn millions of won just by indulging in gambling. He exclaims, trying to figure out how Seo Ju-hong is doing this, but he only smiles nonchalantly. He ends up getting a simple check from the car, which he takes. Then he announces to the gang that it's time for them not to look around but to move on to another establishment, since this check still needs to be exchanged for money. They continue to stare at him in amazement. Looking at the check, Sung-woo marvels at the amount of money on it and tells Seo-jun that he's overdoing it a bit, perhaps because, with that kind of money, some bad people might decide to kill them. Yes, and the guard of the establishment raises his palm, stopping Seo Ju-hong and asking him to wait for a while. He explains that he needs to make an inspection because this is the first time in the history of this casino that one person has won so many times in a row. Seo Ju-hyun easily agrees, spreading her hands and saying, "Please." Standing calmly while being searched, he remarks that the guard is wasting his time since he has nothing to hide. He tends to agree. However, the guard notices a gold-colored keychain hanging from a ring on Seo Ju-hong's thumb and asks what it is. Seo Ju-hyun pinches the blade out of the keychain and says it's just a souvenir he liked, so he bought it. The guard looks at it but agrees that there's nothing special about it. With a chuckle, Seo Ju-hong mentally remarks that it only looks that way at first glance, but in reality, this small knife is a disguised golden axe. As he wraps his fingers around the knife, he hears the relic complain that it doesn't want to be in such an embarrassing shape and asks how long it can stay that way. Seo Ju-hong explains that changing the shape of a thing is one of the most essential skills of a relic owner. A golden axe, on the other hand, could smell gold and valuables, so just by touching the machine's buttons, Seo Ju-hong was able to smell if it would give him a jackpot. He remarks that this way, he can also find the specific casino that is most profitable for him. Meanwhile, the guard apologizes and says that it's okay. Seo Ju-hong must be incredibly lucky. Sung-woo notes from behind that it's incredible how Seo Ju-hyun didn't get caught cheating after all and asks what the secret to his success is. He notices the anxious casino employees checking out the car itself, noting that he's never seen anything like it before. But Seo Ju-hoon just says it's a sign that they should visit another casino, and Seung-woo should stop being surprised by everything. Seung-woo begs for the secret of the winnings anyway. Seo Ju-hong places the check she received on the counter, behind which the girl asks how she can help. He replies that he just wants to withdraw the entire amount, to which the employee is obviously surprised and nervously informs him that she needs to escort him to the VIP room first. But Seo Ju-hyun refuses the offer with a smile, saying they'd better hurry up and just give him the money. Already later, drinking all together, Sung-woo exclaims that he has never seen so much money before. The bag of cash is sitting right on the table, and Seo Ju-hong's other subordinates look at it with delight. One of them claims to be a millionaire. At the same time, Sung-woo exclaims that this amount is enough for a lifetime of poverty. Just then, interrupting their fun and making them tense up, Seo Ju-hong reminds them that if they still haven't realized that money won't go to them. His subordinates hastily confirm that they understand, but they are just delighted by the unprecedented amount of money. Seo Ju-hong continues to drink with a satisfied smile. Sung-woo asks confusedly if he really needs the auction since he can just take the money and come back. Seo Ju-hyun confirms that he does. Sung-woo doesn't understand, but says he can afford almost anything with that kind of money. Finishing his drink, Seo Ju-hong reminds himself that his goal in the auction is the relics. But if he wants to compete with Kwon, he'll need to have more funds. Setting the glass on the table, he orders the gang to hurry up with their food as they have one more lap to make around the casino. Sung-woo exclaims in shock, "Not again?" At the sign of the subsequent establishment, the Golden Axe laughingly announces that he can smell money and asks when Seo Ju-hyun intends to return it to its original appearance. He immediately says it doesn't matter though, and he's fine with the smell of desperation from the casino. After revealing the relic, Seo Ju-hong orders her to finish talking and look for the next winning machine. Axe agrees with a sigh. While he's looking for the right car, another notification window appears next to Seo Ju-hyun's shoulder, informing him that the relic's friendship level has been upgraded because Seo Ju-hyun has arrived at a place that the relic likes. Seo Ju-hong recalls going under the chosen signboard with his subordinates, noting that relics are indeed best in places where people's despair is most felt. Still, he does not want to indulge in relics in search of pleasures. Clutching the disguised relic in his fist, he thinks he needs to get more money as soon as possible and then leave. Here, he is called out by one of his subordinates, who asks him to stop for a while. The backpack he's cradling is shaking strangely, causing him to nervously ask what's wrong with it and what's going on. and when Seo Juhong himself hurriedly unzips to check, his eyes widen in amazement. Turns out there's a silver axe rampaging around inside, and once it's released, it blurts out that something is coming, and it's going to happen very soon. Seo Juhong recalls that while the golden axe can seek benefits, the silver axe can identify people hostile to the master and mark them. Seo Juhong lowers his eyes, wondering who this relic is reacting to and why. Suddenly, the whole group's attention is drawn to a couple of people arguing. One of them emotionally accuses the other of cheating, while the other replies that there is nothing wrong and the first one should hurry up and collect the money won. In addition, there is some commotion throughout the premises. The staff asks everyone to calm down, but people are jumping up and screaming because cars are falling one after another, putting them in danger. Someone loses their belongings, and someone loses all their money. While Sung-woo wonders what's going on here, a man with a creepy smile, unnaturally glowing red eyes, and a knife at the ready appears behind him. However, a stranger ends up jumping on Seo Juhong, yelling and demanding his money back. But Seo Juhong only needs one quick and strong movement to drop his attacker to the floor on his back, causing him to cry out in pain. It's clear from his clothes that the attacker is a local laborer. Seo Juhyun asks him if he's all right in the head and if he realizes what he's doing by attacking random people. Lowering his head, Seo Juhong pondered. If no tomb was supposed to appear here, then why is this happening? Suddenly, someone's presence causes him to turn around sharply, his wary expression evident. It turns out to be a beautiful girl in an evening gown, remarkably calm in this casino where others are running and fighting. Seo Juhong's subordinates immediately start discussing what kind of beauty she possesses. Could she be an actress? With her looks, she could surely be a celebrity. Seo Juhyun alone looks worried. He nervously orders his escorts to grab their things because they're getting out of there. Sung-woo asks him to explain the reason. While Sung-woo reminds him in the background that Seo Juhong was going to earn some more money himself, he notes that he didn't expect to meet this girl here at all. She's the reason there's such a crowd here, and she's the one to watch out for. The stranger's name is Irina Hilton, and she is the youngest daughter in a family of bankers. Irina turns around just in time to notice the escape of Seo Juhong and company. Her background isn't the only thing that can be told about her. A pillar of energy rises in the middle of the city, damaging buildings and seemingly splitting the very heavens. This is what a user of divine relics, the most powerful of all, can do to rise above other people. This not particularly large group of influential people are given divine titles like God of Fortune, God of Conquest, God of Luck, etc. They have become highly influential in the Age of Relics. And among all these people, Irina Hilton enjoys one of the most terrifying relics. Nicknamed the Goddess of Bad Luck, she has the power to take away the chance of everyone around her. Seo Juhong is already getting closer to the exit, recalling that some people and companies lost money and went bankrupt due to Irina. Even the global financial crisis was partly her fault. Therefore, she should be avoided. But she runs up to a startled Seo Juhong and asks him to stop for a second with a cute smile. Almost crying, Irina asks him to wait, but Seo Juhong, as if not hearing, only quickens his step. But as soon as he touches the doorknob, an ominous energy envelops it. In front of Seo Juhong, several boxes pop up, informing him that because of this aura, his relic will take more damage and its number of uses will decrease. Seo Juhong frowns angrily, knocking himself out. This is something he clearly didn't expect. Seizing the opportunity, Irina instead hurries over to him while Sung-woo silently escorts her with an astonished look. She grabs a disgruntled Seo Juhong by the shoulders and, still with the same sweet smile, asks him to wait and listen to her. Looking down at Irina from above, Seo Juhong realizes that he can't escape now. The mere touch of her makes puffs of sinister energy flow through his body. The windows kindly inform him that his relics are deteriorating, as is his luck, and his efficiency is noticeably decreasing. Seo Juhong shakes off Irina's palm as quickly as possible, demanding that she move away from him. She awkwardly apologizes, admitting that she was too excited to see Seo Juhyun, so she overstepped her bounds. A subordinate asks Sung-woo why Seo Juhong is acting like this. Still, the latter doesn't know or understand anything either, saying it's as if he had suddenly seen a ghost, if not worse. Suddenly, one of the gang remembers something, drawing the attention of his comrades. He explains that he has remembered who the girl is. He gives her full name, which causes others to exclaim, clarifying disbelievingly if she is indeed the youngest daughter of the Hilton family. However, someone else immediately confirms the theory by stating that they have seen her face on the internet. While the gang is shocked by this encounter and freezes somewhere in the background, Irina asks if Seo Juhyun is the same person who was rumored to have won a considerable amount of money at the casino. She smilingly informs a gloomy Seo Juhong that she has been looking for him everywhere, and without further exchanges of pleasantries, he immediately asks how he managed such a thing. Seo Juhyun, wary, thinks it's weird when one of the wealthiest people in the world is interested in winning at a casino, so he replies that he's not at all who Irina is looking for. She exhales frustratedly as Seo Juhong quietly walks away, and Sung-woo hurries after him to speak up. He calls Seo Juhyun a fool, and asks if he even knows who the girl is. He calls Seo Juhyun a fool, and asks if he even knows who the girl is, and then says that she came all this way just for Seo Ju-hyun's sake, and he left her like that. Sung-woo asks Seo Ju-hong to wait until they talk to the girl, telling him not to dare waste such a chance, and an infuriated Seo Ju-hong thinks they're no less fools. His subordinates rush up to Irina, asking her to stop for a moment, but they immediately cry out in pain. Seo Ju-hong turns around. Irina apologizes, but everyone near her is already crawling at her feet in an ominous aura, complaining of pain and asking for an ambulance. Seo Ju-hong remains meaningfully silent. After dragging his companions outside, Seo Ju-hong earnestly instructs Sung-woo to avoid Irina as much as possible. The man, still holding his stomach, asks what he means. He leaves his subordinates to recover, instructing them to take shelter somewhere and protect the money as soon as they recover. Meanwhile, Seo Ju-hong himself will attend the auction and call them to bring the money when he's done. As he leaves, he thinks it's a shame that things have turned out this way. He had wanted to make some more money, but now he can't afford to lose the auction before it starts. Seo Ju-hong approaches the auction venue. People are already gathering and buzzing around. As he walks past the crowd, he thinks that Irina has no reason to follow him. He is jerked out of his thoughts by a sudden rude shout and an order to get out of there. Yoon Si-woo declares with an arrogant expression that this is the entrance for honored guests and regular visitors are launched elsewhere, so Seo Ju-hong should get out of there. Seo Ju-hyun notes that this man is Kwan's right-hand man. Though he's noticeably younger, he hasn't changed much otherwise. Just as he thinks that since Yoon Si-woo is here, his boss must be here, Kwan appears nearby, and Yoon Si-woo offers Yoon Si-woo an ingratiating smile. Seo Ju-hong escorts the two of them with a glance, thinking that he has finally met Director Kwan. At that moment, he remembers threatening the monster with a premonition of doom, promising to cut the snake's belly from the inside out. And when the monster's mouth opened stronger than before, he promised that he would pursue Director Kwan even in hell. But right now, Seo Ju-hong is only looking at him from the sidelines, believing that he really doesn't recognize him after all. With a chuckle, he promises himself to take all the auction relics that Kwan sets his eyes on, and he's sure to be the winner this time. Suddenly, a loud noise makes him turn around and listen. Some of the attendees had their stocks plummet, some lost someone else's money, and someone else's perfectly decent cell phone stopped working. Seo Ju-hong looks around nervously. He is slowly beginning to suspect the worst. Suddenly, he catches sight of Irina looking around just as lost. Her presence surprises him. He can't believe she followed him here. Irina tries to call out to him again. Still, Seo Ju-hyun turns away and hurries away, wondering how she could have stumbled upon him among all these people. Irina asks him to listen to her, her face filled with despair. She says that she's gone through all the options, and now she really doesn't know what else to do. Seo Ju-hyun starts to get annoyed, trying to escape. He doesn't notice the glass door in front of him and crashes his forehead into it with all his might, shrieking briefly. While Seo Ju-hyun is cursing while covering his face with his palms, a concerned Irina asks if he's okay, because it looks like he hit him with enough force. But Seo Ju-hyun looks up and snaps back, asking if he looks like he's really okay. He asks Irina to stop following him, claiming that everything that's happening is her fault. But suddenly, Irina replies with a smile that Seo Ju-hyun is right, and that's exactly her problem. She looks around as if checking that everything is okay. In contrast, Seo Ju-hyun looks at her, wondering how anyone could even think of answering like that. As she gets closer, Irina excitedly admits that she's not even sure if Seo Ju-hyun would believe her. Still, she seems to bring bad luck to the people around her. And that's why she wants to become as lucky as Seo Ju-hyun, because she believes she can make everyone around her much happier that way. Seo Ju-hong reconstructs in her mind the image of Irina from the future, the goddess of failure who has ruined the lives of countless people and devastated several nations. Irina takes his hands gently, and his only thought is that she's acting like this now because she's pretending. But she just begs him to tell her what she can do to become just as lucky. She begs to share a secret and promises that she will do anything to keep it. She even claims that if it's about money, she will provide as much as needed. Another warning window pops up next to Seo Ju-hong's eyes. Endless notices of increased tolerance are showered on him, raising questions. He recalls that he got the ability of tolerance after taking the silver pill, and all he knows about the ability is its presence, but not its mode of action. But now, that skill has been activated. Moreover, it keeps activating time after time to protect him. Seo Ju-hong grins, and Irina cautiously asks if he's okay. Seo Ju-hyun replies that it's okay, he was just thinking, and Irina apologizes, figuring it's because her request was too sudden. Looking her straight in the eye, Seo Ju-hong decides that if the status windows don't lie, he no longer has any reason to avoid Irina's company, for he is protected. The constant attack on her relic will only strengthen that defense. In addition, it can be used to deter other bidders from failing, thereby achieving two goals with its presence. Deciding to take a look at how Kwan is doing, Seo Ju-hong moves his eyes in his direction. And for good reason. After receiving news that his factory in China has burned down, he yells at his subordinate, who explains that he has just received the information. Kwan is worried that the plans for on-time deliveries may be derailed. He demands to call back soon and get all the answers. Seo Ju-hyun calmly observes this, noting that Kwon falls under Irina's relic as well. He also notes that in the past, Kwon would have left the place as soon as possible, which means that the existence of the god of failure is also unknown to him for now. Finally, Seo Ju-hong chuckles, deciding that the enemy of his enemy is his friend, and he will be able to gain quite a bit from this girl. Finally, he informs Irina that her request doesn't seem so unreasonable. Overjoyed, she blossoms in front of his eyes, questioning whether it is true. Seo Ju-hyun warns her that getting lucky is not an easy task, and Irina hastily agrees. He also adds that he'd like to discuss the details of the deal better. Soon, he will have to attend the auction, and upon hearing this, Irina drops her hands with a sigh, realizing that she shouldn't follow him. But all her fears disappear when Seo Ju-hong politely asks her to keep him company. However, she realizes that if she refuses, after all, the entrance fee to such an event is quite expensive. However, Irina immediately assures him that such an amount is no problem for her. Seo Ju-hong chuckles to himself. He knew she would agree since buying such an expensive ticket or a cheap treat makes no difference to Irina. He looks at Irina running after the ticket and thinks that he really wonders what she will become in the end. The auction begins. The host behind the podium welcomes the guests and announces the beginning of the 74th auction. As he begins to announce the lots, Seo Ju-hong, sitting next to Irina, looks around at the people gathered, noticing that there's almost no one in the room. There are only a few people in the room. Seo Ju-hyun remarks that after he invited Irina to join him, the number of people present decreased by a factor of 3, as many people went to solve their sudden problems. Director Kwon and Yoon Si-woo, on the other hand, did not leave the event despite the burning factory in China, which can only mean that some auction items are worth such sacrifices. Apparently, out of a desire to keep the conversation going, Irina turns her attention to the current lot, a regal wine several centuries old. She asks if Seo Ju-hong is going to repurchase it, but he replies that the thing he is interested in will be shown only towards the end of the first half of the auction. Irina confirms that she understands. Seo Ju-hong shifts his gaze to her, scrutinizing her once more. It's as if he's a little doubtful that Irina will be the same goddess of failure from his memories, so different are they. And yet, it's not as if her whole demeanor is an act. Recalling their conversation, in which Irina confesses to him that she can bring bad luck to other people, Seo Ju-hyun notes that the strange thing about it all is that it's as if she doesn't know about relics at all. And this, in turn, is only possible if someone tied the relic to her without Irina's own consent. Now, we can assume that initially, the goddess of bad luck was quite a sweet and cordial person. Still, due to the influence of the relic, her life changed, which spoiled and embittered her. While Seo Ju-hyun evaluates his theory, eventually deciding that it sounds plausible, Irina turns to him, confessing that she's really grateful for what he's doing for her. Seo Ju-hyun asks in surprise what exactly she's thanking him for. Irina, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear in embarrassment, explains that it's enough that someone listened to her words and believed her. She admits that she feels so much better just being able to have an honest conversation with someone. Seo Ju-hyun waves it off with a smile, saying it's nothing. A new notification appears over his shoulder. It reports that due to the user's good mood, the power of her relic has increased many times over. Irina, without noticing, smiles charmingly and says that these are not trifles, since they have made her so happy. All the people around them even recoiled from the knockdown ominous aura. People begin to panic as the ominous aura spreads further than before, affecting Seo Ju-hong and his relics. He fights back, while the relics fearfully demand something to be done. Irina looks around, wondering what has happened, and Seo Ju-hong looks at her, thinking she can't believe her emotional state is affecting the power of such a terrifying relic. He lambasts Irina, telling her not to get excited too soon because they might disagree on the terms of the deal. She remonstrates, saying that they really haven't discussed the terms. In addition, Seo Ju-hong notes that Irina's good fortune shouldn't mean that the people around her will have no bad luck at all. Irina lowers her eyes and admits that he's right. There are no guarantees that things will work out exactly the way she wants them to. A window appears in front of Seo Ju-hong, informing him that the relic's attack power has decreased, and he exhales in relief. The announcer points out that an earthquake occurred, but everything is now back to normal. He also announces the current bet amount of $700,000 and asks if anyone wishes to increase it. Someone offers the host a sum of $1 million, which surprises them. Another participant tries to find out from the first one what he is up to. The first teases the second, suggesting that even if he raises the bet, the first will still beat him. The second asks if he's so confident in his abilities. Seo Ju-hyun watches the fight in silence. It becomes clear that these people are acting impulsively due to the influence of the relic. Seo Ju-hyun realizes something. He casts a glance at Irina and decides that he can use her aura to get rid of the remaining people present. Seo Ju-hyun tells her that there's no need to get upset ahead of time because it's still unknown exactly how her luck will tie in with other people's luck. He offers a smile and gets right to the point, because if Irina wants to know how to become luckier, that's what he would tell her. With joy in her eyes, she asks if Seo Ju-hyun is really willing to share this with her. He, on the other hand, intentionally says things that can make her smile and lift her spirits. He even says that he can help her through all her difficulties. Because of Irina's happiness, the sinister aura intensifies, and the bidders lose their composure, buying up everything, including useless yet expensive items. They spend all their money on them, and Seo Ju-hyun is happy to see the plan come to fruition. And because everyone else had lost all their savings in the first half of the auction, Seo Ju-hong had gotten his hands on all the relics he wanted. That being said, there were a few relics that Kwon had to compete for, as he apparently didn't succumb to the relic's insane aura. But Seo Ju-hong's knowledge of relics surpasses that of his rival. So, the relics that went to Kwon, such as the vase, mirror, or fan, weren't particularly useful. Seo Ju-hong notes the items he bought in his notebook: the Hammurabi Code, Shakespeare's feather, and Marie Antoinette's pendant. At the same time, the relic of divine rank noted by the prophecy never appeared. He glances down at his notepad, pondering that this is odd, considering the auction is already coming to an end. But he's distracted by Irina, who asks him whether or not he agrees to the terms of the proposed deal because it looks like Seo Ju-hyun is stalling. He exhales nervously. Seo Ju-hyun stashes the notebook and pen in his pocket, apologizes to Irina, and promises to get serious. However, to do so, he asks her to accompany him to a quieter place to finalize all the details. He is stopped by the host's voice, announcing the start of the special event, and asking for the last item to be brought in. This item is a specific mystical almond tree that has been the subject of many rumors lately. Seo Ju-hyun seems to recognize what it's all about. What he sees is the Qing Shi elixir tree, a divine level and healing type relic. The relic immediately requires people to praise it, as well as bring it out into normal sunlight. Seo Ju-hong immediately throws up his hand, knowing that this thing is something he must get his hands on in any way possible. However, Director Kwon also makes a bid, leading Seo Ju-hong to believe that he knows the actual value of the relic being sold, the figure of a monarch giving orders to his subjects. This is the mighty emperor of the Qin dynasty, Qin Shi. He sends his servants to all corners of the earth, following rumors of finding the miraculous elixir of life. After years of searching, the desired elixir was found in the form of this very almond tree. And last time, this relic was just in Kwon's possession. Last time, Seo Ju-hong's body was constantly suffering due to the killing aura of the relic, and he needed the fruits of the tree just to survive. Instead of money, he was paid with healing fruits, and in the end, Seo Ju-hyun had to take any job he could get. This relic was what allowed him to control it back then. Now, Seo Ju-hong frowns, cursing at Kwon, and finally realizing how he got such a miracle. He promises himself to get his hands on the relic, or else his life will simply be an exact repeat of the past. The host chuckles, saying that it is expected such an item would attract attention. After all, the fruit of this tree is known for its benefits to intimate health. Both Seo Ju-hong and Director Kwon freeze awkwardly, realizing who they're making themselves out to be in front of the audience. Seo Ju-hong curses the presenter, thinking it's now terribly embarrassing, but keeps his hand up, even though Irina looks at him in obvious shock. The starting price for the lot is announced to be $200,000. Seo Ju-hong starts with a bid of $300,000, but someone immediately interrupts her by offering $400,000. Director Kwon instantly, without the slightest hesitation, offers $500,000. Offers are pouring in from all sides: $505,000, $800,000, and Seo Ju-hong slowly begins to realize. He sees the other contestants raise their hands one by one. They too have decided to enter this contest. And then, Director Kwon, not being petty, offers $10 million for the lot at once, causing Yoon Si-woo to call out to him fearfully. Seo Ju-hong calls him crazy and realizes that he has absolutely no intention of giving up, leading him to assume that Kwon knows that a divine-level relic with healing powers is up for auction. He doesn't know how much information Kwon has about the relic itself, but it's clear for sure that if money is involved, there's no way Seo Ju-hong can win. So, he calls out to Irina and tells her that their deal goes into effect immediately. He promises to find a solution to the failures surrounding Irina. In return, he asks that the item be auctioned off on his behalf. It should benefit them both, and Seo Ju-hyun asks how she feels about such a deal. Irina smiles contentedly. With a confident expression on her face, she says that the offer is great because if it's just about money, she definitely won't lose. The bids at the auction continue to rise: $46, $47, $48, and $49 million. The figure of $50 million is already causing other participants to discuss it and give meaningful glances. Surprised by such a heat of passion, the host asks if anyone will have a higher rate than the announced one. Director Kwon, not wanting to miss out on the treasure, offers $100 million for the relic at once. Whispers are heard from all sides, discussing the amount of the bet and calling Kwon crazy. Seo Ju-hyun bows out. Lowering his gaze, he admits that given that any amount over that $100 million is far more than he has, it means he was doomed to lose in this auction from the start. With a satisfied face, the announcer announces the current bet of $100 million and asks if anyone would like to bet more. It is at this perfect moment for an introduction that Irina raises her hand, getting into the race. and she, with a sweet smile on her face, offers $150 million at once. It makes even the host marvel, and many guests turn around in shock. Of course, Director Kwan, who didn't expect anyone to be able to outbid him, gets nervous as well. He even jumps up from his seat and offers $160 million. The other participants unflatteringly call him stubborn. But still, with the same charming smile, Irina raises her bid to $200 million. Director Kwan angrily asks why she decided to join now if she's been sitting quietly the rest of the time, and Yoon Si-woo suggests stopping now before it's too late. Kwan immediately flamboyantly demands that he repeat it. Yoon Si-woo explains that he recognizes Irina, and she comes from one of the wealthiest families. That means she has plenty of money. Seo Joo-hyun is already grinning victoriously. Director Kwan grits his teeth in anger, cursing Seo Joo-hong and Irina. He announces that he's not going to give up since he's gotten this far. He offers a new bid of $220 million, causing Yoon Si-woo to exclaim in horror. The response is a bet of $300 million, causing the crowd to discuss that that kind of money is a whole other level. Seo Joo-hyun laughs to himself, thinking it's a beautiful sight. Yoon Si-woo tries to restrain Director Kwan, asking him to calm down while Kwan tries to get out. They manage to beat him twice in one day, and the coveted relic goes to Irina for $500 million. Later, Seo Joo-hyun asks if this price is a lot, even for someone like her. However, Irina denies it, saying that it's not a significant amount in her case. Seo Joo-hyun says with a chuckle that perhaps that was to be expected. Irina asks how he's going to help her. She suggests that he might somehow share his good fortune with her or offer her an amulet, something like the same rabbit's foot. Seo Joo-hyun replies that he has nothing to give, causing Irina to look back confused. She immediately decides that he's been deceiving her, but Seo Joo-hyun hastily clarifies that it's not over. She just needs to listen to him to the end. With a smile, he explains that Irina's problem can't be solved by using some talismans or something resembling them. However, there is something that can be extracted from her instead. Irina asks in surprise about the retrieval. Seo Joo-hyun explains that you can say retrieval. It's just that Irina needs to get rid of a sure thing by handing it over to him. He decides that the only way out is to rid himself of the relic of failure that has been burdening her. As a result, Seo Joo-hong gets it, which again serves in his favor. Seo Joo-hong suggests that Irina has noticed a particular thing appearing everywhere she goes. He offers to give the thing to him, thus ending the series of failures. Irina frowns, thinking back, but can't remember any of the things haunting her. That assumption is wrong. But Seo Joo-hong waves it off, saying there's no such thing, suggesting that they try to discard the things Irina has on her right now, one of which should turn out to be the one. But she says that she tried to do that once, but none of those things came back to her. Seo Joo-hyun finds that strange. He pitches across the table closer to her and asks if she has any tattoos then, any changes that happen for no reason. This time, there's recognition on Irina's face. She seems to understand what Seo Joo-hyun is talking about. He looks back at her expectantly. That's at least a lead to work with. Numerous heirlooms can be divided into two broad categories, personal and general. And tattoos appearing on the body just the same means the possession of a personal relic. That's why Sasaki Yuki, for example, had that tattoo. After forming a bond with a personal relic, it confirms that it has chosen a new owner. The person with the tattoo holds the relic tightly. General relics can be used by anyone, but they have a specific limit. Personal relics, on the other hand, have no such limit, but they can only be used by their owner. And all the strongest relics in the past have been personal. Irina, meanwhile, searches in her purse for something, offering to show me a photograph. She somewhat embarrassedly holds out her phone to Seo Joo-hong to take a look. The photo of the girl clearly shows black marks on her arms and under her breasts. Seo Joo-hyun recognizes the marks at a glance, but he finds it hard to believe what he sees. Looking at his concerned face, Irina asks, "What's wrong? Was there some kind of problem with it?" Thinking about her tattoo-covered body, Seo Joo-hong explains that the relic associated with Irina is a parasite. It's a relatively rare type that enters the body forcibly and remains there. Seo Joo-hyun returns the phone to Irina. He thinks about the fact that he initially thought the unfortunate relic was something like Eris's golden apple due to its divine status, but this he can't understand. But it's already clear to him that he won't be able to retrieve the relic just like that. Irina looks a little sad. Seo Joo-hyun admits to her that he thought it was a simple task, but he realizes he was wrong. He writes something down on a small piece of paper. Afterward, he gives Irina his phone number, offering to meet and try to deal with the problem when they both have a little more free time. As he leaves, Seo Joo-hong thinks about the fact that even if he doesn't end up being able to help Irina get rid of the relic, he can at least make her an ally. Forming bonds with others is a good idea that will ultimately benefit him. Later, the auctioneer informs Seo Joo-hong that he must pay the check before the almond tree is officially his. The remaining items can be picked up immediately after payment is made. Seo Joo-hyun nods and picks up the phone, saying he's going to call his assistants with his money. The employee says with a smile that he understands, but only a dial tone is heard on the phone, making Seo Joo-hong wary and wondering why no one is answering. Squinting his eyes, he immediately realizes that something is amiss here. Recalling how he left the gang to come to their senses and guard the money while he left for the auction, Seo Ju-hong initially suggests that those simply couldn't resist temptation and made off with the cash. So, he stops the auction worker, who is already leaving, and says he has a small request. And, pulling out a bundle of bills from behind his back, claims that there is nothing special in his request, but the performer will be generously rewarded. Meanwhile, the gang is running through some alleys, clutching bags of money. They believe that if they run far away, no one will be able to find them. One of them asks for some rest, while the other doubts it's worth it, even if their load is heavy. Eventually, Seung-woo does agree to stop, admitting that he's exhausted himself too, and at the same time, asks if they've taken all they could. The others confirm, at the same time, rejoicing at how rich they are now, and thinking that what they have stolen will be enough for them to live a long, comfortable life without any worries. Suddenly, a terrible blow hits the wall very close to Seung-woo's head, causing him to stagger back. With a grim shadow on his face, Seo Ju-hong stands in front of them, asking how dare they take his money and run away. His subordinates shout fearfully, demanding to know how he found them. Taking the golden axe out of the crack in the wall he'd pierced and approaching the frightened gang, Seo Ju-hong mentally dismissively replies that it was easy to find them with the relic. Seung-woo starts to make some lame excuses, but Seo Ju-hyun suggests he shut up unless he just wants to lose his head. Someone immediately starts wailing that they were wrong and realizes it. Seo Ju-hyun reaches into his pocket for some sort of item, regretfully saying that he'll probably have to use it. Seung-woo perplexedly remarks that it's a stone used to clean souls, to which Seo Jung advises him to just look more closely to understand. He clenched the relic in his fist, and a previously restrained power began to emanate from it. Behind Seo Ju-hong's back, a column with an ancient bas-relief suddenly appears, and a small stone tablet appears in his hands. This relic is a code of laws created by King Hammurabi in the time of ancient Babylon, and one of the laws it is famous for is an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Seo Ju-hong's subordinates shriek in fright, unable to believe what they see before them. Seo Ju-hong presents a small diagram showing a person who shoots an arrow at the relic holder, causing the arrow to return to its direction. This is because the codex is an excellent protective relic, capable of warding off any adverse action. To his subordinates, he tells them that it is one of the new relics he was able to purchase at the auction, and he was able to acquire it earlier because one of the employees assisted him. Activating the relic with the phrase, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, Seo Ju-hong grinningly promises to repay them for their betrayal in the same coin. Ribbons of light immediately wrapped around the wrists of his subordinates, causing them to shriek, and the text on the stone tablet begins to imprint. Looking at it, Seo Ju-hong exhales, admitting that he wasn't sure it would work as it should, but it seems to be okay now. As stated in the relic's description, the code phrase will return any attack to the enemy, regardless of its level or strength. Standing before his restrained subordinates, he remarks that he has always wondered if the code could limit people's actions in the present and the future, given that it was initially a set of laws. And that's precisely what the law is used for. Meanwhile, the shackles on his hands disappear, leaving Seung-woo to wonder what that just was. Seo Ju-hong explains with a chuckle that it's no big deal, he was just testing the item he received. From now on, the gang just doesn't need to betray him, and then nothing bad should happen to them. If they do take a chance, however, they'll be torn to shreds. Of course, Seung-woo cries out in disbelief, and Seo Ju-hong merely adds that he can consider that he has voluntarily signed up to sell himself into slavery, to which he immediately indignantly tries to understand on what grounds. The other subordinates, however, are inclined to believe that this is the case, and try to convince Seung-woo of this by saying that a healthy stone pillar has appeared by itself. Seung-woo nervously asks if Seo Ju-hyun is psychic, but the latter, hiding the relic, simply confirms it. Seo Ju-hong also graciously warns them that the whole world is about to be turned upside down. Still, his subordinates will be fine because he will take care of his property. Looking at the not-so-enthusiastic subordinates, he says that they will benefit from this approach, and he will even reward them for a job well done. Nodding at the bag thrown on the ground, Seo Ju-hong promises that they can earn an amount even more than what is there. He will just let them make money for as long as they want. This offer raises a question. Is this serious? Seung-woo, on the other hand, just nods, saying that they understood. However, one question remained. He asks a grinning Seo Ju-hong what exactly they'll have to do, to which he says they'll see for themselves soon enough. The very next day at the hotel, the subordinates were already standing in Seo Ju-hong's room, looking at the gardening tools in amazement and saying that they had arrived at 9 as agreed. However, they clearly can't understand what it all means or why these supplies are in the room. Seo Ju-hyun, on the other hand, mockingly asks why they're surprised, since this will also be part of their job. He draws the gang's attention to an almond tree nearby, calling it cranky, and he says that the task of his subordinates is to feed and grow it. The tree itself lies on a thin layer of earth and complains about how dare anyone treat it like that. Seung-woo immediately cries out, surprised that the tree is squeaking. Picking up the mug from the table, Seo Ju-hong promises that the plant won't bite, so they just need to hurry up and transplant it into the pot. and he really doesn't want to repeat the task twice. Also, offhandedly, he mentions that the relic is estimated to be worth $500 million, so the gang should be cautious. Seung-woo can barely believe such numbers, and the tree only now notices the stranger who picked it up. Seo Ju-hong drinks quietly and watches the others work while listening to what the tree says. The tree is quite happy with this treatment. While his subordinates are planting the plant, it graciously announces that it is accepting this person, which makes Seo Ju-hong surprised to discover that these people are not bad at communicating with relics. He recalls how he tried to curb the tree and, as a result, was still able to make a contract with it. However, its cries were so deafening that it was impossible to sleep. The fact is that healing relics tend to favor those who follow the path of communication rather than those who choose the path of submission. So his subordinates, who were currently tending to the plant, would be perfect for the role of his nannies. Seo Ju-hong remarks with a chuckle that he only gave them the job in the first place because he didn't want to get his hands dirty, and he didn't even think they would be that good at this kind of work. Suddenly, someone starts calling him, and Seo Ju-hyun recognizes the number, albeit not immediately. He'll remember it always, even if he doesn't have it on tape. So he picks up the phone and says he's listening. On the other end of the line is Director Kwon. He introduces himself as the owner of TCVM and asks if Seo Ju-haeon is speaking with him. He confirms this and asks what business Director Kwon has with him. Seo Ju-hyun knew from the beginning that the number belonged to this old man. If he's calling himself, it means he's already started digging into Seo Ju-hyun. Kwon suggests getting straight to the point and says that he heard that Seo Ju-hyun was the one who took the almond tree from Arena Hilton, so he would like to arrange a meeting to discuss the matter. Seo Ju-hyun mentally notes that the old man was quick to sniff out everything, and instead of agreeing, he replies that he has nothing more to say about the tree. In general, he has to end this conversation because of his busyness. This behavior obviously surprises Kwon. He bows out at the hung-up caller while Yoon Si-woo cautiously clarifies what's wrong. Did the conversation go awry? Kwon forcefully drops the phone on the table and paints a vivid description of how Seo Ju-hyun didn't even want to listen to what they had to say, instead simply ending the call. Such absurd behavior causes Yoon Si-woo to interject incredulously. However, he immediately gets his bearings and begins to berate Seo Ju-hong, calling him a rude bastard without a shred of respect. Kwon himself only curses him. He recognizes that even if Seo Ju-hong were a disrespectful idiot, he still has the almond tree. Of all the relics Kwon has seen, this one has the most potent aura. He adds that he knew he had to go all the way to get the thing, and it was only Yoon Si-woo's intrusive comments that stopped him. The man is visibly nervous, so he bows deeply, begging for forgiveness. Yoon Si-woo thinks to himself that it just can't be his fault, because he did the best thing he could have done in that situation. Frowning, he realizes that one way or another, he'll have to solve the problem. But it's the perfect chance to prove himself to Kwon. Yoon Si-woo promises to take full responsibility for what happened and do his best to resolve the misunderstanding. He asks if he can use any means necessary. With fire in his eyes, Yoon Si-woo boasts that he won't have any problems, since Seo Ju-hong is just a foolish youngster. However, he needs permission to use some relics from the TKWM to fulfill it. Meanwhile, in the hotel room, Seo Ju-hyun is inundated with questions from his subordinates. They want to know if the caller was Director Kwon from TKWM, and if so, how he knows Seo Ju-hyun. And then why did he just hang up? Seung-woo clearly doesn't understand Seo Jun's actions, accusing him of being stupid. He adds that you should follow the news, and then you'll know that he's one of the most powerful men in the country. As he gets dressed, Seo Ju-hyun just thinks that the place is noisier than before. Finally, after pulling out a golden axe, Seo Ju-hong remarks that someone should be more polite if they don't want to be stripped of half of their body. Seung-woo immediately backs down. Seo Ju-hong simply warns that he's about to leave, ordering his subordinates to take care of the plant. Additionally, they must not forget to submit a daily photo report on its condition. Seung-woo is already ready to wave his palm joyfully. At the same time, Seo Ju-hyun, heading for the door, reminds them not to do anything stupid because they know full well the consequences. Seung-woo yells back that he won't forget that. Walking down the hallway, Seo Ju-hong explains that Kwon is the kind of person who tries to get what he wants by any means possible, which means they'll soon try to track him down and even attack him. Pulling out a silver axe from behind his sinus, Seo Ju-hong decides that if he wants to keep the elixir intact, he'll have to deal with Director Kwon's men. Considering that the relic had already started to react, it meant that Kwon had already done something. Because of that, Seo Ju-hong intentionally moved around a lot in the open, waiting for the tale to catch on. Eventually, he succeeds, and someone catches his attention. It turns out to be Yoon Si-woo talking on the phone. Apparently there are no other people with him, and he works alone. Which means that TCVM still looks down on Seo Ju-hyun, and yet, something's not quite right. Yoon Si-woo is surrounded by an aura of faint, but still discernible power. So, he decided to take the relic with him. Seo Ju-hong grins smugly. He has a good plan for just such an occasion. Meanwhile, standing under the bar's windows, Yoon Si-woo is arguing with someone on the phone, asking what time it is already. He angrily asks if his interlocutor is sure of his information and why he should believe him at all. He angrily asks if his interlocutor is sure of his information and why he should believe him at all. As he climbs the stairs, Yoon Si-woo even threatens that if this continues, his interlocutor will not receive any compensation for his labor. However, as he stands higher up, his eyes widen in amazement. He sees the one he has been looking for all along. Seo Ju-hong sits at the counter with his back to Yoon Si-woo, drinking his cocktail and not looking at the audience at all. So Yoon Si-woo approaches him from behind and asks him if he's Seo Ju-hong. He just hums. The stalker has taken the bait like a fool. Seo Ju-hong still doesn't answer his question, instead thinking that Yoon Si-woo probably doesn't even realize that he's the one trapped there. Meanwhile, Yoon Si-woo is freaking out, knowing full well that his first appeal has been heard, so he tries to politely call out Seo Ju-hong again. But the one still doesn't react, turning the situation into something absurd. Yoon Si-woo slaps his hand on the table and rudely asks if Seo Ju-hong is deaf. At the same time, he starts to explain that if someone starts talking to him, he should. But then Seo Ju-hong rises up and, with a sudden movement, topples Yoon Si-woo to the floor, towering over him. The bartender behind the bar barely has time to be surprised. Seo Ju-hoon accuses Yoon Si-woo of having disgusting manners, wondering where he learned them, and asks how he dares to yell at someone he's seeing for the first time, as business should start with respectful communication. But sitting on the floor, Yoon Si-woo blames Seo Ju-hong for starting it first. At the same time, it gives him the perfect opportunity to study the relic's aura properly. After taking a closer look, Seo Ju-hong decides to keep it for himself. Yoon Si-woo shakes it off, asking how Seo Ju-hong even dared to hit him, and he, in turn, thinks about how Kwon probably still looks down on him since he trusted one person to do the job. After finally deciding that he'll take whatever relics Yoon Si-woo has with him, Seo Ju-hong tells him to work on his behavior. Afterward, he immediately changes the subject, saying that since Yoon Si-woo has a case, he can start talking about it because Seo Ju-hong will listen to him. Yoon Si-woo just mumbles curses. But for Director Kwon's sake, he decides to swallow his resentment after all. He reminds Seo Ju-hoon that they met at Midas yesterday, and it's related to a case they're working on there. Seo Ju-hoon feigned surprise, saying he didn't remember seeing Yoon Si-woo's face, and he demanded that he stop playing dumb because he knew exactly what he saw. With that clarification, Seo Ju-hong immediately nods with a smile, saying, "That's right, I remembered. There was a loser there who was always trying to get ahead in front of Old Man Kwon." This kind of insult makes Yoon Si-woo boil over in an instant. He threatens to ask Seo Ju-hong what Seo Ju-hong said. Still, he glances at the notice window instead, pleased that just as he thought, he was able to find the fool's weak spot. Losing his temper makes him lose control of the relics. Yoon Si-woo, in his flashbacks, is also easily provoked because, due to his inferiority complex, he constantly tries to show how important and significant he is. He was once supposed to take control of the firm, but due to his character, he made a mistake and was subsequently kicked out. It is only because of Kwon that he has achieved some success in life and now works to rise in his eyes without bowing down to others. Seo Ju-hong recalls how Yoon Si-woo used to take every opportunity to harass and yell in the past. If he was pressed on his weakness, he would immediately lose his mind and go into a rage. In his flashback, Yoon Si-woo grabs the relic, threateningly asking if Seo Ju-hong is done talking and promising not to let him go this time without punishment. However, despite his anger, nothing happens, and the relic remains just an ornate trinket, leaving Yoon Si-woo perplexed. Seo Ju-hoon silently turns around and walks away. Yoon Si-woo is still waving the relic behind Seo Ju-hong's back, demanding him to stop, but he pays no attention. Yoon Si-woo is unable to control high-rank relics properly because controlling them depends on one's mental state. So Seo Ju-hyun should take advantage of this opportunity now. He casually says that he remembered that Director Kwon had called him earlier, but Seo Ju-hyun really needs the plant. He asks what he should do. Yoon Si-woo demands to know what he's talking about. Seo Ju-hong calmly replies that he means he won't give the tree to them so easily, surprising his interlocutor. Seo Ju-hong actually states that he would probably give the relic if Yoon Si-woo tried and asked nicely. He received the plant as a gift, so he could give it to someone who really wanted it. Yoon Si-woo nervously ponders what he should do, calling Seo Ju-hong a disgusting person through his teeth. Still, as a result, he humbles himself and bows low to Seo Ju-hong. He even thanks him for working together before asking him to hand over the tree, claiming that it's essential to them. He curses Seo Ju-hong with his teeth, promising to tear him to pieces as soon as the relic is in his hands. But Seo Ju-hoon just laughs at Yoon Si-woo, marveling that he actually believed such nonsense. He even says that he would like to have such a stupid and efficient person as his subordinate. With an angry cry about how Seo Ju-hong even dares to do such a thing, Yoon Si-woo pries the cork from the flask of colored liquid with his finger. He pounces on Seo Ju-hong, yelling that he should have done this from the beginning, and promises that he'll make him his slave and then take his life. Seo Ju-hong stands still, asking mockingly if Yoon Si-woo was really going to use this. While Yoon Si-woo tries to hit Seo Ju-hong with a flask, the latter only mockingly advises him not to do something like that. There's obviously no effect, And so Yoon Si-woo looks at the relic in his hand in amazement, wondering why it doesn't want to work. At the exact moment, without ceremony or paying attention to Yoon Si-woo's scream, Seo Ju-hong roughly grabs him by the hair. And then, asking if he hadn't warned him, he slams his face into the floor with force. Yoon Si-woo yells something about how his nose is hurt. Seo Ju-hong explains that, of course, nothing will work, since Yoon Si-woo has lost control of the relics like a fool. The notification window reports the same thing. Pinned to the floor, Yoon Si-woo is surprised that someone is aware of the relics. But Seo Ju-hong confirms that he knows without explaining and takes the flask from Yoon Si-woo's hands. He immediately tries to hold it back, asking her to stop. Looking at the relic, Seo Ju-hong believes that this object has the power to affect the mind, and he simply declares himself its new owner. The relic, on the other hand, asks who he is. However, once she realizes the power of control Seo Ju-hong has, the flask stubbornly agrees to obey him from now on. Seo Ju-hyun immediately tilts the flask, pouring out some of its contents. It lands on Yoon Si-woo's back, who immediately starts begging Seo Ju-hong to stop, offering to do anything but that to him. But with a sinister smile, Seo Ju-hong continues, explaining that this relic is called Voodoo Priest Zombie Powder, an A-rank item with some remarkable features. A few mindless zombies wandering somewhere. The voodoo cult began in Africa when there were many slaves, and one of the beliefs suggested that the punishment for committing a sin was to become a zombie. All sorts of rumors and gossip intertwined, so that soon everyone was convinced it was true, and this, in turn, helped this relic come into being. If you touch this powder, your sanity will leave you, and the person will become a zombie. Seo Ju-hong smirks, thinking that being defeated by a relic that you've used yourself suits Yoon Si-woo very well. As the bartender checks on Yoon Si-woo lying on the floor, Seo Ju-hoon quietly walks away, thinking that it should be enough for Kwon to leave him alone for a while. And now, he has to hurry up and get the relics, because it's time to leave this place. Meanwhile, Director Kwon looks on in displeasure, and the staff members accompanying him look on in amazement and disbelief at the sight that has been revealed to them. In front of them, Yoon Si-woo wanders behind bars with no hint of reason and empty eyes, while a policeman asks if it's their employee. Kwon doesn't answer and simply turns away from the camera as the policeman repeats his question with obvious distaste. The staff who came with the director still recognized him and said that he was the department head, Yoon Si-woo. A news story is open on my phone about a Korean man in downtown Las Vegas scaring people by walking around naked. The police arrested him, attributing the behavior to either drug use or mental problems. This note is read by Director Kwon, cursing Yoon Si-woo when someone calls out to him. The subordinate wants to know what they should do now, given that there's no way to cover up the scandal, and Yoon Si-woo has still been able to come to his senses. Kwon replies that there's nothing they can do but comply. He is outraged that information about the incident has spread not only in the United States, but also in South Korea. This scandal has disgraced his very name, and now Kwon is being dragged through the mud. Kwon demands the nervous subordinates to go now and fetch all the relics that Yoon Si-woo used. They hesitantly turn to the already turned-away principal, admitting that there might be some problems with that. They explain that when Yoon Si-woo was detained, he didn't have anything on him, which makes one assume that all of his relics were confiscated or stolen earlier. This news shocks Kwon. His subordinates immediately assure him that they will check all the places Yoon Si-woo has managed to visit in his quest. However, Director Kwon says it's useless. He has already realized that the relics were taken by the same person who was able to strip Yoon Si-woo of his mind. This, in turn, amazes his subordinates. They can't believe that someone else was able to put Yoon Si-woo into such a painful state. They even remember that he was an experienced and confident relic user with sufficient skill and experience, and it was unlikely that anyone else could have handled him. Kwon says that Seo Ju-hong must have done it. Either someone powerful is behind him, or he is capable of using high-rank relics. Therefore, Kwon orders that a certain assistant of his named Lee Ji-ah be sent to Seo Ju-hong. His logic is quite simple. Considering that Seo Ju-hong is still very young, he will act like a good child if you offer him sweets. Meanwhile, Seo Ju-hyun himself makes his way to the airport in Las Vegas, preparing for his flight. Sung-woo tries to ask Seo Ju-hong what new thing he's brought, but he's staring at his phone, only reminding him to call him Hyung-nim. Sung-woo awkwardly corrects himself. Seo Ju-hoon reminds him not to lose anything, since all these things belong to him, to which Sung-woo remarks that these trinkets don't seem valuable to him. Seo Ju-hong is happy that he has managed to get so many relics here. All that remains now is to get them safely back to Korea. So he recalls one by one all the relics that came into his possession. In Korea, he had received a golden and silver axe, a lifeline, and the sword of Muramasa. At the Midas auction, he managed to obtain the Hammurabi Code, Shakespeare's feather, Marie Antoinette's pendant, and most importantly, the Emperor of Keen's elixir tree. In turn, Yoon Si-woo was able to pick up zombie powder, foxtail grain, and Homer's glasses. For a starting arsenal of relics, Seo Ju-hong had more than enough, and he would be able to get his hands on more and more of them every day. His musings are interrupted by a man calling out to him by name, explicitly introducing himself as a special agent in the service of the TCVM. Not the least bit surprised, Seo Juhong simply notes that here comes Director Kwan's second henchman. He looks at Lee Jia and ponders what exactly she is up to. A little later, she and Seo Ju-hoon are sitting at an airport table across from each other and talking. Lee Ji-ah says that she knows that Seo Ju-hoon was the one who misappropriated Yoon Si-woo's relics, and he doesn't need to try to deny it or make excuses. Putting the folder on the table and motioning it towards Seo Ju-hoon, Lee Ji-ah informs him that Director Kwan appreciated his skills nonetheless, since he was able to straighten out Yoon Si-woo. That's why she's here today to offer him a job on the TCVM search team. Seo Ju-hoon admits that all this time, he had been wondering why Lee Ji-ah had come here. And now it turns out it's just because of the damn slave contract. Lee Ji-ah is clearly surprised to hear such an answer. She remarks that Seo Ju-hong's words are too harsh because there's no offer like this for him anywhere. Besides, they're offering $100 million in advance in addition to the salary. She continues, saying that TCVM won't interfere with an employee's personal life, only their work. Seo Ju-hoon sets the glass on the table with a clatter and interrupts to ask what will happen if he refuses. With a smile on his face, he states that this job offers him nothing of interest. Besides, he already knows very well what Old Man Kwan is up to. Lee Ji-ah, from the side of someone with more experience, politely advises Seo Ju-hong to watch his language when talking to others, saying that it will help him and others. But for now, she'll pretend she didn't hear, realizing that he's still a boy. And then she's downright threatening, asking if Seo Ju-hoon has thought about what kind of punishment he might get for stealing. She also says that when a small insect dies in a small store, no one makes a fuss about it. And Seo Ju-hong's men can disappear just as well without leaving a trace, and he shouldn't think he's any different. Tot laughs, saying that now that's when Lee Jia exposed herself, trying to intimidate him. Seo Ju-hong frowns, summarizing her speech as a choice between joining the TCWM or dying. Then, he offers her a little advice on his own behalf. Reaching into his pocket with his hand, he advises Lee Jia to always choose an opponent of her strength before engaging in a fight, provided, of course, that she values her own life. After pulling out the zombie powder, he adds that the only one who will disappear without a trace is Lee Jia herself. She instantly recognizes the relic that Seo Ju-hoon is holding. Even though she's nervous, she still claims that she knows the large number of witnesses around Seo Ju-hong will deter her from using this remedy. After all, he definitely doesn't want the relics to become public knowledge. Seo Ju-hoon replies that he now understands why she was so presumptuous and opens the cork of the relic, releasing some of her power. He asks if she's really sure he won't do anything. The sharp sound causes his subordinates to turn around, raising their heads in unison. Seung-woo assumes that the sound was coming from the cafe where Seo Jung had recently gone. A subordinate suggests that they should go in and check out what's going on. Falling to the floor, Lee Jia screams, panikedly shaking the specks of dust off his shoulder and demanding that Seo Ju-hong put it away. She accuses him of really being in over his head if he uses his own relics so openly. And Seo Ju-hoon just admits to her that he doesn't care if people find out about the relics or not, and that's what makes him drastically different from them. He even explicitly addresses witnesses, urging them to hurry up and take pictures of the glowing powder, for example, and upload the video to the internet. Lee Jia calls him crazy for this. Seo Ju-hoon looks down at her and notices that her relic control must be insanely high since she remained conscious after touching the powder. While Lee Jia looks at him warily, he even suggests that she use her chance to attack right now because the next strike from him, she might not be able to fend off anymore. Lee Jia takes the advice and leaps to his feet in an instant, immediately snatching up the relic. She uses it to direct a wave of water at Seo Ju-hong, asking him to taste it. Seo Ju-hoon only remarks that it's a good move. Seo Ju-hong calmly applies the Hammurabi Code, calling the column after him, and so innocently informs us that he has a relic with him. After uttering the code, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, he orders Lee Ji-ah's attack back, and she is immediately doused with all that water, causing her to shriek. Only then, while lifting herself off the ground, does she recognize Hammurabi's code. Seo Ju-hoon confirms that she thought right, but calls her a fool. He holds a silver axe over his head, asking him to chop down the enemy who had taken his life. Lee Ji-ah immediately apologizes and admits his mistake. Seung-woo runs in, calling out to Seo Ju-rong to see what he's doing. He can't believe that he would really just kill a man in the middle of the day. But Seo Ju-hoon replies that there's no need to worry so much because it won't actually kill anyone. Lowering the axe to a terrified Lee Ji-ah, he promises that it will just destroy something very precious to this man. Security at the airport is worried because they heard a noise like an explosion coming from the cafe. They assume it could be a terrorist attack and demand that all entrances and exits be sealed off and the area protected. Director Kwan stands and listens, while a security man reports to the commander that they have learned that a certain naked girl is disturbing customers outside the cafe. The commander can't believe what he hears. Kwan turns around and, clenching his teeth, asks how Seo Ju-hong dared to do something like that. Seo Ju-hoon himself, meanwhile, picks up a specific item from the floor. At the same time, Seung-woo babbles on about how he can't even believe that the rumors about spirits and some things ended up being true. Seo Ju-hoon examines the relic he picked up and notices that Lee Jia dropped it, and he wonders what kind of power it has. Seong-woo takes the chance to ask what kind of relic he's talking about. Examining the notification window above the relic that doesn't tell him much, Seo Ju-hong promises that Sung-woo will find out soon. Suddenly, he hears the relic addressing him. He raises his head. Relic asks him to follow her voice, and Seo Ju-hong's subordinates obviously don't understand what's going on. The voice warns that Seo Ju-hong's place is about to fall into chaos. He asks if that raven is talking to him, but only Seung-woo answers him, asking him to stop scaring him like this, chattering to the air all of a sudden. So Seo Ju-hong realizes that he is the only one who hears this voice. Relic tells him to hurry up and follow her. Seo Ju-hyun mentally scolds her, telling her not to boss him around, but turns around nonetheless. He accuses the raven of sending him back in time without any warning and turning his life into some kind of game before he decides to have a chat. And at the same time, he tries to punch the air with his fists, while Seung-woo watches incomprehensibly. Raven warns that Seo Ju-hong will still regret not heeding the warning, but he doesn't care, because he doesn't believe the relic. Suddenly, Director Kwon is nearby and remarks with a smile that Seo Ju-hyun put on a good show like this. Kwon assumes he's talking to Seo Ju-hong now, and the latter turns around, not very pleased with his presence. But with a smile, he confirms that he's Seo Ju-hong. At the same time, Sung-woo mumbles nearby, not realizing what's going on and hoping everything will be okay. Director Kwon remarks that this is their first such meeting and introduces himself. Seo Ju-hong's subordinates hurriedly greet him. Sung-woo says it's nice to meet you before he starts to feel something strange. He shivers, admitting that his body can't move. Seo Ju-hong throws a concerned look at him. Looking at the dark aura engulfing and sinisterly grinning, Kwon Seo Ju-hong mentally bows out at him. And without hesitation, he immediately snatches a relic in the form of a dagger from his holster, rushing towards Kwon. As a result, he ends up behind him, putting his blade to the throat of a slightly nervous Kwon, who is anxious about this turn of events. With a chuckle, Seo Ju-hong remarks that such careless actions cause problems for other people, and that Kwon shouldn't resort to dominating people, especially if they are subordinates to someone. So he suggests to a grudgingly frowning Kwon to stop it right now, assuring him that it's for the best. Kwon grudgingly agrees, saying that he finally understands everything. While Seo Ju-hong's subordinates are happy to be free again, he notices that he has found the reason why both Yoon Si-woo and Lee Jia are in a similar state. Kwon recognizes that Seo Ju-hong's abilities are much stronger than he expected them to be, and also that he must have an exceptional talent for controlling relics. He adds that in that case, he won't hold back anymore. Seo Ju-hyun hums in amusement and surprise. Looking directly into his interlocutor's eyes, Kwon informs him that he once heard a prophecy that said that people would discover the existence of relics at some point in time. He immediately admits that he wouldn't like this outcome because he has his own plans for these relics. Seo Ju-hyun, on the other hand, concludes that Kwon collected some predictions using a future guide. Gathering the ominous energy crackling with black lightning around his palm, Kwon concludes his speech with the solution he has found. Get rid of all people who know about the relics in an attempt to delay the fulfillment of the prophecy. Throwing a stream of dark energy forward, he adds that this is, among other things, a great reason to get rid of people like Seo Ju-hong. His subordinates cover themselves with their hands against this flow, barely staying on their feet and exclaiming that it's happening again. And Seo Ju-hyun stands perfectly still and asks, did Kwon decide to show everyone his true colors so quickly? Kwon, on the other hand, stares at him in shock, not understanding why Seo Ju-hong is still here, since the relic he used was supposed to transport him and his men to some alternate reality. Seo Ju-hyun, showing him the 2 black tickets, asks with a smile if this is the relic Kwon is talking about. He indignantly calls him a scoundrel and demands to know when he stole them. Seo Ju-hyun, on the other hand, explains that he did it at the exact moment he threatened Kwon with the dagger. He adds that his hands are quite dexterous. Then, with a smile, he declares that he should use this relic too. Kwon faintly gritted his teeth in anger, baring his teeth at Seo Ju-hong. He asks how the man even dared to steal his relic, to which Seo Ju-hyun replies that such an essential item should have just been better guarded. Seo Ju-hong remarks to himself that Kwon used to praise him for his thieving ability, so I wonder how he feels now. A window also appears in front of him, informing him that the level of his pickpocketing ability has increased. He asks the Raven if the latter will continue to frame the whole thing as a game, but quickly forgets the question, asking for a better assessment of the relic. The analysis reveals that this is a divine-level relic being used. Seo Ju-hong notes that, unfortunately, his dominance ability is weak in dealing with such a relic, so he stashes the relic in his pocket, lamenting that he can't send this old man to another dimension. Kwon is surprised that Seo Ju-hong is still going to fight, and says that he's mistaken if he thinks it's the only relic he has with him. Seo Ju-hong is actually alarmed, immediately assuming what exactly else he might have with him. His subordinates can barely handle the onslaught of energy. At the same time, Seo Ju-hong explains what he knew. Kwon always has a few powerful relics with him, but it's one of the strongest things at all, after all, the Enslaver's relic. This relic enables you to control the mind of any person, granting you absolute power over them. And just like Irina's relic, this one belongs to the parasitic type. In Seo Juhong's past life, he couldn't find out anything about her because she was constantly at Kwan's fingertips, and all he knew was that she had been parasitized somewhere on her body, nothing more. Frowning, Seo Juhong calculates his chances. He could strip Kwan of his arms and legs to get more information about the parasite, but that would be difficult because he also has a protective relic with him. That is to say, Kwan can be compared to an impregnable fortress equipped with powerful weapons. That one asks Seo Juhong with a chuckle. Was he really scared? And after all, Kwan didn't even activate his relic fully. Seo Juhong adds that the Kwan relic makes a deafening noise after it's activated. Its energy flows become chaotic, and if he continues, chaos will reign. Already, ordinary people nearby are beginning to notice that something wrong is happening. Seo Juhong grinned, wondering if something was wrong. After all, Kwan had said that he didn't want the public to know about the relics. Gathering lightning in the palms of his hands, Kwan waves it off, finding nothing much to worry about and just assuming that the rest of the witnesses will have to be dealt with as well. However, if Seo Juhong leaves here alive, it will be a bigger problem for him. With triumph in his eyes, Kwan announces that the hour has come when Seo Juhong will submit to him completely. Suddenly, a raven appears in the air, demanding that the brawl stop, shocking both Seo Juhong and Kwan. He says that this place is dangerous, with ferocious jackals sleeping in it, and if this fighting doesn't stop, they will awaken from their slumber. But the first thing Kwan notices is the raven's colossal aura. He assumes it must be a high-ranking relic. Seo Juhong, meanwhile, tries to understand the raven by remembering stories that may have featured jackals. He recalls only Egyptian myths about Anubis, the god of the dead, and suggests that perhaps this place is a tomb. Meanwhile, Kwan is adamant that this is the best possible outcome, increasing the flow of energy around him to the point where it begins to blind even Seo Juhong. Kwan boasts that he'll take the raven-shaped relic for himself once he's done with it, but the crow just calls him a fool. Suddenly, everything around him starts to shake, causing Seo Juhong's subordinates to panic, shouting about earthquakes. This causes Kwan himself to be frightened as well. He looks around in panic, trying to figure out what's going on, and in front of Seo Juhong, several windows unfold one after another. One warns that a deadly aura is trying to affect his body, while another warns that his relics are damaged due to this aura. A third reports that the relics are appearing in large numbers. Looking out the airport window, he realizes that the scene he is witnessing can only be called a great catastrophe. It had begun and ushered in an era of chaotic relics. The airport is crumbling due to the emerging Egyptian structures that are definitely part of the Anubis relic tomb. Now, the airport appears to be situated in the middle of the desert, surrounded by pyramids. Not only that, but the whole world has been turned into a giant tomb. The great catastrophe is the sudden appearance of giant tombs across the planet. Las Vegas is destroyed. An active volcano has appeared in the heart of Tokyo, spewing puffs of smoke. Seoul was torn apart by lightning from a sky draped in red clouds. The window reports that deadly Egyptian tombs are popping up all over the world, and Seo Juhong wonders what he should do now that he's being called by name. It's Seung Woo wanting to know what's going on around him. Seo Ju-hyun replies that it's nothing, but they're all locked inside a very dangerous tomb right now. He adds that nothing would have happened if an old man hadn't started bragging about his abilities. Kwan tries to justify that it's never happened before, while Xingwu worries that they're trapped, wanting to know how to escape. Seo Juhong explains to his subordinates that since they can't just leave, it's their job to clean up the tomb, and after that, they'll be free to go. The problem is that it's not that easy to do so. He recalls that in his previous life, it took him 3 months to clean up a similar tomb that had been created by a disaster. However, the situation now is entirely different from what it was before. Eventually, Seo Juhong decides that it's even better to start at the center of the tomb and tells his subordinates to follow him to meet the master of the place. Those agree tentatively. But then Director Kwan, after waiting for the right moment, orders everyone to stop. Channeling the dark energy with an open palm, he reminds them that he wasn't actually authorizing anyone to leave. Seo Ju-hyun asks him almost tiredly, is he really going to do this, even though their situation? After all, it's clear to even a fool that they need to deal with the tomb first, before returning to the feud afterward. But Kwan replies with an evil smirk that he'll think about it after he's dealt with them, mainly so he can appropriate the relic of this tomb as well. Seo Juhong frowns, cursing mentally at him. He's afraid that this isn't all just an unfortunate coincidence and swears that he'll do everything he can just to leave this place. Kwan clenches his fist and orders everyone present to comply, wanting to use his relic on them. A terrifying force presses down on Seo Juhong and his subordinates. The latter even fall to their knees while he still holds on, and even reports through clenched teeth that Kwan is habitually overly assertive. Kwan, towering over Seo Juhong, notices with some surprise that he is still cursing, noting that he shouldn't talk about his own master that way. Seo Juhong falls to his knees with a painful groan. Seung Woo, who is already being pinned to the ground by the power of compulsion, wails that if this doesn't stop, they'll just die, panicking, asking Seo Jung, are they really destined to stay here? Meanwhile, Quan himself is getting a little nervous, since he can't suppress them all so easily. He's accustomed to the fact that others can easily lose their composure at the slightest provocation. Suddenly, the voice of a relic is heard, reporting that someone was right, and that these pathetic people have the potential to dominate the relics. This surprises both Quan and Seo Juhong, causing both of them to turn their heads in the direction of the voice. Quan rudely asks the imposing figure floating in the air about who he is. The monster opens his mouth, showing his fangs, and replies that he should be the one asking who they are and why they are making a mess on their property. Seo Juhong, meanwhile, sits down and comes to his senses, glad to be free. He believes that because of the relic's interference, Quan's submission isn't working as it should. He scrutinizes the hovering dog-like monster and immediately determines that it is Seth, a relic of divine rank, lamenting that of all the things that could have happened to them, they got to open the tomb of this relic. Recalling how Seth was depicted in Egypt, Seo Juhong explains that he was one of the major gods responsible for the desert, chaos, and evil. His relic became unusually cruel as a result and was known for destroying the owner's life. Another monster, the Black One, notices that it is beyond comprehension to obey a human, so they need to get rid of them. Seth agrees with this argument and even adds that he would be doing people a favor by taking their lives all away. Seungwoo cries out in panic, detecting the presence of a new monster. At the same time, Seojong looks it over carefully before realizing something. The Black Hound itself is probably Anubis, but the necklace around his neck is Osiris, hinted at by the chain and the curve of the metal. Recalling these gods in mythology, Seo Juhong notes that both Osiris and Anubis were among the most significant gods. Only Osiris ruled over fertility and the afterlife, while Anubis ruled over tombs and doom, accompanying the worthy dead. But considering that Seth is here beside them, it means that 3 divine-level relics have gathered in one place. Seo Juhong notes with a smile that he's no longer surprised that in his past life, the tombs didn't all end. Seth asks Anubis what kind of test they should give the mortals to have fun while they die, but he doesn't know what to choose yet either. Suddenly, Seth, as if awake, shows his fangs and says that this makes no sense at all, that there is no need to show leniency and abandon any trials. Anubis, clearly disagreeing, advises him to be patient. While Seth complains that he's uncomfortable even just being around people, Seo Juhyun looks at the notifications about his immunity growing with a chuckle, saying that it's even interesting. He notices, though, that there's no intention of letting them go alive. Eventually, Seth announces that he will start first, and that the best way to deal with such nasty insects is to show how relics are superior in power to humans. Seo Juhyun clenched her teeth and looked at him, realizing that now this is where things start to get serious. Bright flashes of light flood the entire room. As soon as Seth's relics begin to attack, the others support him, causing a horrible aura to engulf everyone in just a few seconds. One subordinate of Seo Juhong, shrouded in supernatural energy, panics and screams, wanting to understand what's going on after discovering that he's bleeding himself. The other coughs up that blood, causing Seungwoo to ask worriedly if he's okay. Seo Juhong looks around tensely. Seo Juhong draws a disappointing conclusion. Without immunity, the body cannot withstand the pressure of such a force, and therefore, gradually begins to deteriorate. And even Director Quan falls to his knees, not realizing what is happening to him. Even he, with all his relics, cannot resist such an aura. Seo Juhong instructs Seungwoo that he and the others should find another place to hide, because if the relics see them as mere insects, they'll let them escape. Seungwoo admits that he doesn't even know if he should be happy about his good fortune. Seungwoo commands one subordinate to hold the other more firmly as they carry him, despite how the first notices that he's not feeling so good either. Seojung watches them, while Quan indignantly wonders where they're running to. Afterward, he shifts his attention to Seo Juhong, angrily wondering how he can even stand on his feet. Seo Juhyun explains with a smile that it's all because of the difference in his and Quan's abilities, causing the latter to swear after receiving such a cheeky response. Seth grudgingly asks why Seo Juhong is still on his feet, to which Anubis suggests that maybe they just weren't using enough force, getting the recommendation to do their job correctly. Precisely before Seo Juhong activates Hammurabi's code, the relic suddenly notices that his scent is familiar to him. Unfolding the relief column behind his back, Seo Juhong wondered with a smile, was this really all that relics could do? Anubis laughs at him, wondering what Seo Juhyun even plans to do with his relic. At the same time, Seth remarks that the difference between them and this thing is mind-boggling. Seth promises that he will still make Seo Juhong regret his arrogance before unleashing waves of scarlet power and lightning stronger than before. But Seo Juhong, expecting just that, utters the code phrase with a broad grin. An eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth, suggesting that the relics should try to withstand their own power. Streams of energy hitting the protective field of Hammurabi's code did reflect. The protective relic did not fail. Relics, struck by their own attack, scream in pain, questioning how this is even possible. Seo Juhong remarks with a satisfied chuckle that this is what always happens when you rely too much on ranks and weaken your defenses. Anubis decides that this means they should take it seriously. He suggests that Seth use his powers and attack Seo Juhong, But Seth, grinning his fangs, refuses, as using the abilities will reduce their life energy. But Seth was now absolutely sure that the scent he had smelled from Seo Juhong definitely belonged to the raven. He could still smell its traces now. Osiris is surprised at the mere mention of this name. He calls the raven a traitor who has taken the side of men but finds its presence impossible, given that it was sealed long ago. So Anubis concludes that Seth's sense of smell is failing him. He immediately becomes indignant, thinking he's being disruptive because his nose is excellent. Seo Juhong, watching them fight, remarks that he was wondering why the relics didn't start fighting each other initially. And especially since Osiris and Set are in the same room, their fight seems inevitable. He recalls that in the myths, Seth did something unforgivable. Because of his terrible jealousy of his own brother, he ended up taking his own life. And given how the relics are barking at each other right now, Seo Juhong concludes that all these stories about them from the past are affecting their relationships in the present as well. Squinting, he decides that now is just the perfect moment to attack the trio of relics, given how engrossed they are in their own strife. But Anubis seems to realize something, noticing Seo Juhong moving closer to them. He thinks he's up to something and tells the other relics to stop arguing and instead attend to their assigned task. As a result, Anubis still has to nervously admit to himself that this is a problem he has to deal with on his own. Seo Juhong recognizes him as the only sane one among the relics and declares that he will beat him first. Anubis laughingly calls him a self-righteous fool. Afterward, he offers to see if Seo Juhong can survive his ordeal by enveloping him in a ray of yellow light. The floor beneath Seo Juhong's feet seemed to vaporize, knocking him out. Now he's flying down, passing out, and trying to figure out what's even going on, while Anubis blusters that someone like him would never make it through this ordeal. The words about the test make Seo Juhong wary, clenching his teeth. He starts to think about what exactly is going to happen, but is distracted by the not-so-soft landing. As he gets up and complains about his bruised back, he immediately realizes how unusual a place he is in. Seo Juhong stands on a scale large enough to freely accommodate him whole. Anubis, now in a much more imposing, anthropomorphic form, towers over him, confirming the observation. According to him, this is the scale of justice, and he is about to begin the trial of Seo Juhong himself. Seo Juhong realizes that this means Anubis has decided to use his own trump card. He adds with a chuckle that if he can pull it off, this silly relic will belong to him immediately. A colossal figure leans over the scales, watching the tiny figure in their bowl. Since the aura of the divine relic has no effect on Seo Juhong, Anubis has decided to take a different route and, in doing so, has only created an opportunity for his own enslavement. Seo Juhong recalls meeting the owner of Anubis in a past life. He's a fairly ordinary kid who explains in a friendly manner that the relic will ask questions, all of which must be answered in the negative. The boy can't remember the specific questions, but he swears they're simple. Squinting at him, Seo Juhong decides that since the child has done well, he has nothing to fear. Several figures appear above his head to toe, wrapped in black. Anubis announces contentedly that all the judges are in place, and he will now ask the 42 questions one by one. Squinting his red eye, he explains that the test will be considered passed if Seo Juhong can answer all the questions negatively. If he tries to lie, a beast lurking in the darkness will read his heart and punish him for it. Seo Juhong only thinks that Anubis's past owner didn't lie back then. It's straightforward, but his first question makes him flinch nervously, because Anubis wants to know if Seo Juhong has ever stolen. As he drenches himself in sweat, he realizes that the answer to that is yes, and besides, he's made quite a bit of money off of it. Anubis laughs victoriously, saying he knew it, to which Seo Juhyun hastily asks to be given a second, since he's still pondering the question. Relic graciously voices the second immediately as well, asking if he's ever lied. Seo Juhong bites his lip, realizing that there is no way he can answer honestly here either. After all, he lies to people all the time. The questions come at him one after another. Did he hit anyone? Destroyed property? Coveted other people's money? Only now, when it's too late, does Seo Juhong realize the nature of the ordeal. Glancing nervously at the judges, he explains that it wasn't the difficulty of the questions that prevented even a child from passing the test. He just hadn't lived long enough to accomplish anything on that long list. Anubis assumes that Seo Juhong isn't confident that he can answer no to at least one question out of 42. He asks if his assumption is correct, extending a huge clawed hand. Relic simply grabs the much smaller Seo Juhong in his fist and says it's even expected for a man overwhelmed with sin. The man scolds. Anubis declares that the heart of the judged man is heavier than iron and tells him to go to hell, where he will belong, lifting the captured Seo Juhong just above the horrible beast rampaging below. Looking at the crocodile's gaping mouth and glowing yellow eyes, Seo Juhong essentially asks what kind of monster it is and asks him to stop, allowing him to think briefly. But Anubis simply opens his palm, allowing Seo Juhong to fall into the jaws of the hungry beast, and all he can think about is how wrong he was. And now, swearing, also falling again, stubbornly reaching upward. The place he finds himself in is more like a cave. The place he finds himself in is more like a cave than anything he has ever seen before, filled with sand and bones buried within it, and it's tall and spacious, with the only obvious exit located in the middle of the ceiling. Lying on the ground, Seo Juhong wrinkles his nose and weakly groans in pain, noting how hard the landing was. But then some sound makes him still raise his head and see what's up. A group of emaciated ghosts with eyes burning red approach him. Seo Juhong laughs nervously, saying that it's some kind of mockery, not giving him a second's peace. Still, he stands up, picking up a large bone from the ground to use as a weapon. Afterward, he holds out a makeshift baton in front of him, urging the creatures to attack him now. When the monsters jump at him from 3 sides at once, Seo Juhong repeats his call, shouting for them to attack all together. He promises to tear the attackers apart as he starts swinging his weapon. He blows off one monster's head and stabs the other in the back. But as he scatters the monsters around, Seo Juhong realizes he's still failing. There are too many of them. One monster gets so close that he is forced to put a bone in front of him so that the creature can close its teeth on it rather than bite Seo Juhong's arm. But due to the attacker's strength, he rolls on the ground while several more monsters get close to him from behind the first one. Seo Juhyun, clenching his teeth, realizes that he can't do it on his own and wonders if this will be his end. Will he have to lose his life again? Suddenly, the Raven's voice suggests that he could definitely use some help, calling Seo Juhong the more foolish one. Rays of light begin to spill from his body. Eventually, the flash becomes so powerful that it throws the monsters away and causes the others to stop in fear. The familiar figure of a 4-eyed raven soars in the glow, high above Seo Juhong. Relic notices that it's been a long time since he's done something like this on his own. Seo Juhong rises to his feet, looking at the bird, confused. He doesn't understand what he's talking about, nor how he came here so early, if he was able to meet the raven after a long time in his previous life. Dropping lower, the raven laughs, replying that time doesn't matter because he stays the same. Seo Juhong manages to indignantly ask the relic to clarify what she's talking about before the noise distracts him. He sees the former monsters getting closer and closer, noticing that they are about to attack again. Raven says that nothing can be changed in this situation. He promises Seo Juhong to help him escape from this place. Then he briefly considers it, and says that it would be highly amusing if the Egyptian gods died because of their own power. Seo Juhong takes a moment too seriously, and directly asks the relic what it is and why it has suddenly started helping him. But the raven doesn't respond, and instead flashes such a dazzling light that it not only startles Seo Juhokasis and uncovers to hit the ground with his hands. Meanwhile, Seth and Osiris look at the large, dark ball of power floating in front of them, noticing that the whole thing has taken much longer than they expected. The ball gradually goes into bright blue cracks. Osiris asks if this means that the man inside is finished, but Seth thinks it's not because that ball of space created by Anubis they were watching is collapsing from within. This causes Osiris to shriek in surprise. He doubts that a normal person would even be capable of such a thing. Quan, still crouching on the ground, listens to their conversation with grudgingly clenched teeth. Suddenly, the sphere shattered into pieces, causing the relics to scream in amazement. And the moment a torrent of unprecedented power envelops them, Seth recognizes it. It is the power of the sun god Ra. After the dust settles, the balloon is replaced by a raven, and Seo Juhong is enveloped and supported by its power. Seth immediately exclaims that he knew the raven was involved, calling him an immortal freak. Osiris, meanwhile, worries about Anubis, asking him to wake up, and when he doesn't respond, he knocks himself out, powerless. Seth, baring his fangs, says that it was obviously the raven that did something to Anubis, now hanging powerlessly in the air, as if truly asleep. Seth says he was sure the raven had been sealed away and doesn't understand how it could have returned. He accuses the bird of siding with humans in its desire to destroy the relics, seize their power, and insult it. And when Seo Juhong already asks the raven if what he is accused of is true, the raven only remains silent without answering. Osiris tries to convince Seth that now is the time to use their powers, suggesting that they should handle the situation and inform the others simultaneously. Enraged, Seth growls that they really have no other choice. And since things have turned out this way, he's going to tear everyone and everything to pieces. His aura flares up with a new, even more threatening force, enveloping everything around him in an ominous glow. Even the very space around Seo Juhong and the crow begins to collapse, sizzling with pure power. And from the cracks in the ground, hordes of the same ghosts that had nearly taken Seo Juhong's life earlier were leisurely climbing out. Osiris, on the other hand, proudly proclaims that he has used a more powerful spell this time, and now the undead souls will appear all over the world. Raven admits that he can no longer help Seo Juhong. Still, he nods with a smile, saying that he's already figured it out and he doesn't need anything else. The bird notices that it seems as if he's not afraid of anything, and asks why that's. Raven adds that now that everyone else has escaped, Seo Juhong himself won't be able to get out of there anymore. But he, pulling out his katana, says not to take him for a fool. Waving his sword, he explains that the situation has been turned upside down, and he can now use all of his relics. Also, Seo Juhong states with a chuckle that he knows full well that the actual forms of all three relics must also be here somewhere. After all, they're essentially things that can't move on their own. He asks if he's right, but doesn't expect an answer. Instead, he soars high into the air with his sword over the ghosts that have risen from the ground. Crow laughs, finding Seo Juhong amusing, and promises that he will continue to keep an eye on him. Meanwhile, Seo Juhong himself cuts through the endless throngs of dead people with burning eyes, dealing them out with swift blows. 3 ghosts, different from all the others, hover motionless, holding various figures in their chests. Osiris urges the others to look at Seo Juhong, claiming that he is even having fun. However, Seth argues that humans have a limit, unlike the undead army. The emblem on the left dead man's chest is his proper form, just as the clock on the right one's chest is the appropriate form of Osiris. Anubis, whose proper form is Ankh, slowly comes to his senses, not realizing what is happening. He is advised to come to his senses, promising to destroy the enemy himself in the meantime. Osiris says that Seth will need to put in more effort this time, but he just laughs and says that he doesn't mind at all, offering to handle Seo Juhong once and for all. New ghosts rise up from the ground. What's more, at one point, they are suddenly being tightly girdled with bandages. Being much stronger and taller now, the dead men loom dangerously over Seo Juhong. He obviously doesn't expect such a thing, and nervously wonders what it is all of a sudden. Suddenly, one of the mummies attacks, smashing the ground surface with its fist. Seo Juhong hastily jumps back to stay alive, and immediately takes this opportunity to deliver his swift strike. Seo Juhong lands softly on the floor, but his sword remains in the dead man's body, barely managing to cut through the top few layers of bandages. Rising up, he recognizes that these mummies are far more durable than he had thought. However, Seo Juhong just happens to have another blade, which he pulls out from behind his back. It's the same Egyptian ritual dagger. Relic marvels at the energy in the air, saying that it's similar to the one she had back home. Seo Juhong presents his relic to the others, and wonders if this reaction could be because they are all compatriots. Dagger, on the other hand, exclaims that Anubis is just around the corner, and that presence makes him feel omnipotent. Seo Juhong replies that this is fine, and wonders if the dagger can find Anubis, offering to come closer and greet him, which the relic thinks is a great idea. Looking up at the approaching mummies from below, Seo Juhong orders the dagger to lead him to Anubis. Meanwhile, Seth, whose relic is also inside the mummy, laughs contentedly, noting that the vessel has definitely grown more comfortable with the enlargement, and he adds that he has plenty of room to spare. Anubis asks if Seth and Osiris use their abilities and receives confirmation with the explanation that they had no other choice. Seth says that even though he doesn't understand the reason, the raven hunting for the relics has reappeared, and Anubis admits that he was defeated because of it. Seth remarks that their timing is bad and that he would like to warn everyone else about the raven's appearance. He doesn't have time to say anything more because Seo Juhong suddenly swoops in from behind. In 2 movements, he cuts Seth's relic out of the mummy's body and splits it roughly down the middle, causing it to fly away. Seth tries to find out how Seo Juhong was able to discover him, breaking down into a painful moan, but receives only a sinister smirk in return and a wish to finally rest in peace. Seth's relic falls to the floor, split into 2 halves, and the other divine relics scream his name in shock. But then, a swift thrust of the blade cleaves the second mummy aslant across the throat. A relic of Osiris, cut precisely in half in a patchwork of bandages, can only wheeze that this can't be happening. The remaining Anubis can only helplessly call out his name before he too senses danger approaching. However, his mummy, the blade cuts through the mummy in such a clever way that it does not touch the core, in which the artifact is hidden, but just cuts off everything else unnecessary. Eventually freed from his bandages and encasement, An turns to Seo Juhong. Anubis asks why he is doing this, but all he gets in response is an admission that there is really no special reason. Seo Juhong grinningly asks the relic to start the test again, stating that the result of the previous one doesn't seem right to him. But An replies that he's never done anything like this for the same person. In addition, even if the trial starts over again, there's no way Seo Juhyun will be able to pass it. But the one with a smug grin declares that there is no such thing, and this time, he will definitely manage. However, pointing his katana at Anubis, Seo Juhong says he has a small condition. The list of questions must be changed, or else the last divine relic will meet the same fate as Set and Osiris. Seo Juhong and the feather are balanced on giant scales. Anubis has no choice but to start the ordeal all over again, so the 42 judges and the scales are all set up again. However, there are also some differences. For example, Anubis looks much worse, now barely as tall as Seo Juhong himself, who also notes this difference and scarcely able to stand on his feet. Still, the relic begins, reading out the first question. But Seo Juhong roughly grabs Anubis by the throat, telling him to shut up, which amazes the relic, unaccustomed to such treatment. Seo Juhong explains that Anubis will have to ask questions in specific wording, and the first one should sound like, "You've never stolen?" Relic doesn't understand this. Anubis immediately opens his fanged mouth, indignantly noting that the question should be about involvement in the theft, and that there is no point in 42 posthumous judges if the questions are phrased that way. But Seo Ju-hyun replies that he doesn't see why he should care about such details at all. After all, this isn't even a posthumous trial. He asks the relic if it thinks he's dead, but Anubis can only make a half-suffocated squeak. Seo Ju-hong lets go of the relic, causing it to fall to its knees, and then is told to repeat after him if Anubis wants to keep his life. He reminds him again that he can cut Anubis to pieces at any time if he doesn't follow orders. Relic asks why Seo Ju-hong is doing this since people are supposed to desire their power. Doesn't he really care? Seo Ju-hyun replies with a chuckle that he's going to seize the power, but if he fails, he'll destroy its source. He says that if Anubis suddenly breaks, it will only mean that they are not meant to be together. Anubis doesn't know what to say to that, and so he remains silent, nervously pondering what he should do next. Eventually, he gives up and repeats the question in the correct wording, which causes the judges to look around in incomprehension. Seo Ju-hong says he can't hear and asks to speak louder, to which Anubis bows out and repeats the question. But then, Seo Ju-hong kicks Anubis right in the face, telling him to watch his words. He demands that he avoid swearing, showing respect for the man. For the third time, the relic mumbles the question in an emphatically respectful manner, addressing Seo Ju-hong as Sir. He is amused by this and, smiling, confidently replies that no, he has never stolen. Trailing off, he ponders what he would come up with for the next question, causing Anubis to flash a look of indignation when he wonders if every question Seo Ju-hyun is going to change similarly. But Seo Ju-hong only looks at him expressively and says, "Of course." In the end, he still managed to answer all the questions in the negative, rephrasing them to suit his needs. Anubis himself was ready to cry when the test came to an end. The notification windows report that Seo Ju-hong has completed the trial, obtained one of the 3 relics, and successfully cleared the Great Tomb. The space around him changes again, and in the palm of his hand remains that black and gold ankh, a relic of Anubis. Because he possesses the divine relic, Seo Ju-hong's characteristics improve, flooding him with windows notifying him of changes. Dominance, immunity, and even new ranks caused Seo Ju-hong to conclude that the crow is definitely having fun out there. Deciding it's time to call it a day, he grips the relic tighter and tells her to close her own tomb, which causes a surge of power. The room they were in began to collapse, crumbling into a pile of stone debris. Director Kwon, who has somehow gotten to his feet, is surprised by this and concludes that Seo Ju-hong has indeed managed to get hold of the tomb's relic. He looks at Seo Ju-hong, thinking that he is just a boy, but already a competent man. He is not a rookie that Kwon can easily get rid of if he wants to, and if he can't win, then he should consider poaching him under his command. Seo Ju-hong is glad that he's finally out in the fresh air, looking at the notice that the Great Tomb has been destroyed when Director Kwon calls out to him. Kwon admits that he initially failed to recognize Seo Ju-hyun's exceptional abilities and was too rude, for which he apologized. He even bows slightly, feigning sincerity. Kwon also remarks that he should make the offer properly, and holds out his palm forward, asking if Seo Ju-hong would be willing to work for him. Seo Ju-hyun wonders if Kwon tried to take his life a little earlier, to which he immediately starts making excuses, saying it was because they didn't know each other at all. Kwon says that the relics will change the world, and in this new world, people like Seo Ju-hong have great potential. Seo Ju-hyun listens, but it's clear from the look on his face that he's not very excited about the speech. With a sly grin, Kwon, as the head of TCVM, promises to help his employees in every way possible, no matter what they take on. He will also help develop his potential and abilities to bring Seo Ju-hyun to the big stage. Kwon once again offers Seo Ju-hong to work for him, but he stares back with a grim fire in his eyes. Seo Ju-hong pulls out his katana and points it at Kwon, remembering that he started his speech with an offer to work with him and ended it with an offer to work for him. That's enough to judge his true intentions. He notes that, of course, Kwon will invest in his development, but also demand results that match his investment. And then he'll get rid of it altogether if he wishes, as if human life were a thing. Seo Ju-hyun states that he knows Kwon just wants to use him, but why talk about wanting to work together? That's ridiculous. Director Kwon laughs nervously as he looks at the blade pointed straight at his face. He remarks that there's no need to react that way. After all, he's only made a proposal, and he has more wealth at his disposal than Seo Ju-hyun at the moment, so at first, it may look like they're unequal as business partners. It is all the more surprising to Kwon that expecting results from one's own investment is considered a bad thing, because the way the world works is that we often do favors by expecting something in return. Seo Ju-hyun frowns, noting that this is how Kwon is like an old snake. And the one keeps talking, offering the thought that Seo Ju-hong would have to be put in danger over and over again to get the relics, and doing it alone might become too complicated. Kwon even starts to say something about helping with injuries as well, as a sharp movement comes just at the line of his throat. He doesn't have time to speak and only coughs in defeat as the sword cuts through him with a smooth stroke. Seo Ju-hyun is angry because he just can't hear about how Kwon is going to worry about his health there. He no longer has the strength to stand still and listen to this stream of lies. he still remembers the day a certain Boshniakia Rosika died working for Quan, and how he used Seo Juhong himself as a slave, manipulating him with the drug. Despite the wound he received, Quan grins as if nothing had happened. All the spilled blood returns to his body as if nothing happened, and he notices that it was really unexpected. Seo Juhong's punch was just incredible, so fast. The cut is already healing. It's all the power of Quan's protective relic. Seo Ju-hyun admits out loud that it looks disgusting. And this time, Quan doesn't even argue with him. He is protected by the body of Achilles, who took his strength from the river Styx, which is a divine relic. Seo Juhong recalls how this character of myths is portrayed. He is a warrior from Greek mythology whose mother, Thetis, was the goddess of the ocean, and whose father, Peleus, was a mortal man. Of course, Fatida wanted her son to be immortal, so she dipped him in the river Styx, holding him by the heel. This gave him a strong and immortal body, and his only weakness was his heel. And just as Achilles died because an arrow hit his heel, so the eponymous relic that protects Quan must have some kind of weakness. The only problem is that Seo Juhong doesn't know where that weak spot might be, and the head that was severed by the attack has simply grown back. All shaded with sinister energy, Quan wonders if Seo Juhong now realizes his superiority. Even if they're not equal in strength, Quan simply can't be defeated. With a sinister smile, he tries to convince Seo Juhong that he doesn't want to fight, but wants to be his ally. Quan assumes that there can only be one answer here and tells Seo Juhong not to procrastinate. The man looks away and laughs. Afterward, he orders Muramasa to gather all his strength. He briefly cries out in pain and tries to find out what Seo Juhong is going to do. Holding his sword shining with overflowing power, Seo Juhong asks Quan if he knows about such a concept as a riot, because that's precisely what he's about to stage. He says that it's evident to anyone that Quan is right, that it would be incredibly beneficial to partner with him, except Seo Ju-hyun isn't going to do it. And as a reason, he suggests that he just really dislikes Quan's face, causing him to shriek indignantly. In between, Seo Juhong remarks that Muramasa is a great relic for his rebellion, as it only gets stronger if the opponent has a relic of a higher rank. With wild excitement, Seo Juhong offers to see if Quan can finally close his mouth if he uses the maximum power of the katana on him. Quan, on the other hand, screams that Seo Ju-hyun is a crazy creep, wanting to know the reason why he's going so far. But the latter doesn't respond, instead immediately attacking Quan, hoping to cleave him across the stomach. Quan cries out and squints painfully, and drops a blood fly in all directions. Seo Juhong stubbornly clenched his teeth, wanting to follow through at all costs. And because of all this strain of power, there's a massive explosion in the end. Let's back up a bit. Seo Juhong hits the reel with all the power he has, which strengthens his relic many times, and also destroys it in the end. Quan says that Seo Juhong is putting in too much force, and he's even right. It's really reckless. Holding the split blade in his hands, Seo Juhong admits that even so, he can't simply let go of his nemesis. It's impossible. Sensing a deadly threat, Quan's relic activates automatically. His body is enveloped in an unbearable glow, and lightning bolts strike in all directions, while being hit by them is incredibly dangerous. Seo Juhong gripped Hammurabi's code tighter, planning to repel at least part of the attack with his help. He builds a barrier around himself, hoping that the returned damage will temporarily take Quan's life once more. But the relic of Hammurabi is damaged by such use. A considerable amount of reflected power rushes back towards Quan, causing a large explosion and splintering the rocks. Looking at the crippled Quan in the center of the crater, Seo Juhong decides that the relics of Achilles and dominance have definitely been affected, which means his opponent won't be coming around for a while yet. Seo Juhong moves closer to the body, noticing that, to his dismay, Muramasa is broken because of that attack. Clenching his fingers on the hilt of the weapon shard, he adds that Hammurabi's code was also severely damaged. Seo Ju-hyun bitterly remarks that he put in so much effort and still couldn't take a single life, and he's annoyed. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls his name. It's Seung-woo, wanting to know what happened here. Seo Juhong is surprised that his subordinates are still alive. Upon noticing Quan, his subordinates express their displeasure that an inanimate body is sitting there. However, Seo Juhong remarks that it's unfortunately still quite alive. Seung-woo asks nervously if Seo Ju-hyun is going to take Quan's life, guessing that he's at least very eager to do so. But Seo Juhong only stares silently. Then he says he should leave Quan alone. He's going to be in the hospital for a long time anyway, and Seo Ju-hyun doesn't have a chance to deal with him now. Then he suddenly turns around and says he's hungry and is going to go out to eat. After all, some establishment might have survived the cataclysm. Seung-woo asks him to wait. As they walk through the ruined city, Seo-jung reminds him that he must be addressed respectfully, or his patience may quickly run out. Seung-woo mumbles that he understood, addressing him as Sir. On the TV, the news announcer discusses the devastation caused by the abnormal events and reports that they've managed to get news from the people attacked by the monsters. A frazzled man tells a reporter that he saw dead people rising from the ground. They looked a lot like mummies, so much so that he wanted to believe it was all part of a movie set. And some people have superpowers thanks to special objects. SEO Juhong, who is covered in band-aids, eats the noodles and remarks that it's an interesting sight. He and Sung-woo are just watching the newscast, and the latter notices that the news of the destruction is repeated on every channel. Seo Ju-hoon replies that the whole world is now aware that there are relics. Seung-woo interjects about them. So Seo Jurong simply clarifies that these are the things he left on the bed. Sung-woo looks around to look at the carelessly piled relics, while one of them tries to get someone's attention. Seo Ju-hong remarks that he's already mentioned that the world will soon be turned upside down, and those who find good relics will have great power. One relic exclaims that she's already tired of all this chatter, and after all, her body will soon be destroyed. Sung-woo asks with some hesitation if all these things don't look like they're about to fall apart, to which Seo Ju-hong replies, still chewing, that that's precisely the problem. However, when he picks up the phone, he claims to have a solution in the form of some helpful friends. Xing-woo, of course, wonders what he means by the word friends. Right in front of his astonished subordinate, Seo Ju-hong dials Irina's number and, politely apologizing for contacting her at a bad time, informs her that he has found a way to lift her curse. She asks him if it's true, to which Seo Ju-hong mentally replies that of course it's not, but he's not completely lying either, and he'll have to put in a little more effort to handle the situation. SEO Ju-hyun reports that it's true that Irina will need to find one person for him, and he thinks she can help with that. Irina agrees, asking who this man is in general. This is Yu Jae-ha, an expert in repairing relics. Every relic can break due to reduced strength or carelessness of the owner, and there is no way to rebuild it from scratch. SEO Ju-hyun recalls many broken items. However, there are relics with the ability to restore other relics, and the individuals who possess them are known as relic masters. The man shows his broken spear to the master, who looks at it thoughtfully, and a young man with blonde hair and blue eyes, Yu Jae-ha, is the best of them. In the past, he had complete authority over this market and was known by the nickname King of Scams. Seo Ju-hong and Yu Jae-ha run into each other at the office. One day, Director Kwon takes an interest in such an expert, and as a result, they end up on the same tomb research team. Now, Seo Ju-hong just has to get Yu Jae-ha to work for him, and then recovering the relics won't be a problem. In the meantime, Seo Ju-hong and his subordinates are standing on a hill somewhere, looking out over the city. Xing-woo assumes that Irina thinks punctuality is some kind of joke. Sung-woo asks, "Who is this person that you can go to such lengths for him?" Seo Ju-hyun just says his name. Seung-woo continues to ask, because when it comes to relics, Seo Jung has no equal, right? He confirms this but says that repairing them is difficult, and most of the craftsmen in this business are weirdos. Most of them require close contact with relics, which can pose a problem. And if he can't do that, the only thing left to do is find someone who can. It's as simple as that. With a twinkle in his eyes, Seo Ju-hong adds that this way of thinking seems to be the slave trader's way of thinking, making his subordinate nervous. Suddenly the wind picks up, and a voice from the helicopter above apologizes for being late, saying he'll come down as soon as he gets the chance. Xing-woo is shocked at Irina's choice of means of transportation. Irina reports with a happy smile that she wasn't that far away, but she was delayed by the massive traffic jam. She tried to get there faster, and now apologizes for being late again. Seo Ju-hyun notes that she even has her own helicopter, which is to be expected given her wealth. He says aloud that everything is fine and suggests that they go out to discuss the situation. After a while, Irina and Seo Ju-hyun are sitting in a cafe while his subordinates sit at a neighboring table. Irina asks about Yu Jae-ha, but Seo Ju-hyun can only give his name and nationality, asking if they have crossed paths with Irina. But Irina claims she's never heard of such a thing, making Seo Ju-hong wonder.